leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order. It's Christian Talk.
DarkDox Digest. DarkDox Digest. DarkDox Digest. DarkDox Digest.
Welcome to the April 14th, 2025, Monday edition of the DarkDox Digest with your host, Christian Collins.
DarkDox Digest. DarkDox Digest.
Happy Monday, everybody. I drove all the way to Sarasota and back, and all I got is this stinking sunburn. And I just got out of the shower, just uploaded all of the files, so I'm just going to play them all for you right now, uncut, raw, because that's how I do it. I'm DarkDox Digest, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at youtube.com/Sacred Owls. With no further ado, open to display capture. I bring you Anthony Fauci. Enjoy. Hit play already. God. Jeez.
Hello, this is Christian Coffins from DarkDox.com. I'm here in Sarasota, Florida. It's 8:30 in the morning, and we're supposed to be starting a protest. Anthony Fauci is supposed to be speaking at the Van Wezel Performing Arts Center over here on the water. It's a lovely day out, and there's some confusion about where exactly the protest is starting. At 11 or so, there's going to be a festival where the Surgeon General of Florida is going to be speaking, amongst others, musical guests and such. So we're going to be hopefully protesting, bullhorning, waving flags, yeah, I guess Anthony Fauci's inside. Honestly, the parking lot's not very packed with protesters or attendants of this event, so I'm kind of curious what exactly is going on. I'll report back more with more updates soon.
Yeah, well, my one friend's like, I make Google I can't help myself. Yeah, my one friend is like, I'm going to show up at the So y'all are really. So are you with Alex's group? Or?
Yeah, I run DarkDox.com. We're an affiliate.
Good. Love him.
Oh yeah.
He's the best.
So yeah, I'm here in front of the Van Wezel Performing Arts Center where Anthony Fauci is supposed to be speaking, but it's the oddest thing because there's plenty of police around and protesters, but I don't see enough people for an event to be happening here, as well as the organizers of the protests are nowhere to be seen. So it's concerning. We'll see what happens.
Actually on the sidewalk near Van Wezel. I just wanted to let you know what we heard. So somewhere up there. Christian, what'd you find down there?
Nothing.
A couple of gators. Say again?
You're Christian too. I'm like, how do you know my name?
Where we want to.
What's up, Data Bazzy? You feel better, man?
The ladies' room came on that. I had to go to New York City. Can I take your picture? Oh, my baby.
I'm sorry?
Can I take your
Oh, yes, of course.
over here because
Yeah, man.
the families?
That's good.
That's why I said
Yeah.
Thank you.
No.
I mean, this is the spot right here, you know, because you got.
Yeah. He won't come in here, but people going into it will.
Is he even here? Is anyone here? This is the weirdest thing.
I know.
Like, there's not enough people for Anthony Fauci to be speaking here
know.
this morning.
No.
Well, maybe he backed up.
I also want to ask the cops, but I'm sure they won't say anything. So I don't know.
I don't think he's.
Let me walk down here and see. I'm going to ask him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because the website said to get here at 8:30, so the people who bought tickets can see us.
Yeah, right. That's what I would say.
So where's everybody? It's weird.
Maybe we didn't sell any tickets.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine someone actually paying to go see, even on the left, you know, like,
$70.
and they don't have money, first of all, but
Paying $70. I don't know.
you need to take your 15th booster.
Apologize. No. Something about
You need to wear 15 masks.
another one. Oh, yeah.
Your mask better have masks.
Across the police. Yeah, she was one brave woman.
Looking at me. I'm looking at you. Looking at me. Covering this. You guys a local affiliate?
Yeah, SNN. We're I think we're channel 6, but I think it's been a while, so it might be channel 30 now.
Oh,
But
they keep bumping you down the list.
no, that is what it is. There you go. You know how to mic yourself up? You need help.
Yeah, I don't know how to do this one.
Okay, so
Just clip this somewhere.
ideally, if you could do it this way.
Okay.
So we're gonna wrap this up a bit, and you're gonna put this in your pocket.
Okay.
And wait, can you take it out? I'm sorry, I just want to make sure it's not muted because it happens all the time. No, we're good to go. All right,
Okay, cool.
So put this in your pocket, and now try to clip this onto like your shirt collar
Okay.
because your whole thing is black, so I don't think it's gonna matter too much.
Yeah, point it. It's so tiny.
Need help, or you got it?
Right here. That should work, right?
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Perfect. So go ahead and stand right there and face me because I'm going to be standing right here. So turn your body a little bit. No, like face me. There you go. Just like that.
Okay.
Spike and the damage that it's done to suppress the T cells and the natural killer cells. Okay. All right. So tell me your first and last name and spell
All right. Speak for me. Just say anything.
Check. Testing. 1, 2. Check.
Good to go.
I also do a podcast.
All right, sir. So if you don't mind giving me your first and last name and how to spell it for me.
Christian Coffins. CHRISTIAN COFFINS.
And look at me when you answer. So tell me a little bit what's going on here today.
So I run DarkDox.com, DARKDOX.com out of Orlando, Florida, and we got a report from the Hollow Society that there was going to be a protest, and Anthony Fauci is going to be speaking at this Performing Arts Center today against the COVID shots, the lockdowns, the masks, just the whole global tyranny of the medical industrial complex. And, so we got a lot of supporters here, of course, a lot of Trump supporters saying, we're not going to do the lockdowns ever again. We're not going to do the masks. The science is not settled. Anthony Fauci is not the science. And there are real scientists that are now coming out now with the Maha movement with RFK Jr. in office that, we can actually start taking some real change. We've already, nationwide are having a dialogue about removing fluoride from the water, which is a known neurotoxin. It's literally rat poison. We've been promoting this at Infowars.com for 30 years now. And so it's due time. We need natural health, natural immunity. People just need to simply take your vitamins, get some sunshine, exercise. We don't need to be taking these experimental shots.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Check out DarkDox.com.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I found that out.
No.
I'm about to walk off with it. Thanks so much for your time, man.
Yeah, thank you.
That. I got that. You got it?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I remember, and then actually, and I remember.
Ew. He's always full.
But I couldn't offer to throw his bike in the car.
These are also some of the help you with your kidney failure.
No. Kidney failure, when you have kidney failure, there's nothing you can do. It just gets worse. So that's what I'm trying to do.
What do you want to see happen today? What's the most important message that you could say today?
Well,
Good morning.
How are you? Are you actually from Infowars?
I'm an affiliate. I run DarkDox.com out of Orlando.
And I told
Yeah, we work at the Gateway Punda and Infowars.
this is the program of the Sarasota Memorial
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is great. So is this thing actually going to happen? Is Fauci here? I don't see enough people.
Probably coming from both sides, both because he's a pussy. Pardon me, pardon my French. Not really, pardon my French.
Yeah, I got a boat on my van. I was halfway considering just going up and down the water with my bullhorn, you know. But
Yes.
I thought this would be more fun.
Well, let's see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah. We got some people on the corner over there.
Tommy launched his boat, and we could just go up and down without calling
I feel like the Boston Tea Party, but we dumped COVID shots in the water, you know. Maybe that's a bad idea.
Yeah, that's a really bad idea. We're already turning the frogs gay.
That's right, atrazine, yeah. They laughed at it. I have the clip.
I know.
Miniseries. And they tell the trainees that
No.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap gay. Frogs friggin' frogs. It's not funny.
I won't berate you guys. I have all those for like when we go to leftist protests, they hate it.
And then they
Let's see, the light's pretty good right here. Ready when you're on, man. Hold on one sec. Okay, I'm good if you are.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Yes, we're here to let Anthony Fauci and his followers know that what happened was wrong. Our husbands were killed, murdered in the hospital in Florida, and they should not have. My husband went for a simple chest x-ray to the hospital, and we kept him for 5.5 weeks, and it was murder. Starved, no water, lost 47 pounds in 15 days, was given 60 pages of horrific drugs, including remdesivir, and it killed him. All of us are here
So all of you, I'm going to pan over there.
Yep.
So all of you all have experienced the loss of a loved one in a Florida hospital.
Our husbands. Virginia.
Virginia.
Mine was Virginia. Yours was
Okay.
Virginia.
Off the road, guys.
Thank you.
I'd like to also ask, this is a photograph I took of your husband.
Yes, this is my husband. This is when he went into the hospital to get a simple chest X-ray. They decided to keep him, and then they vented him after 19 days. He was 20 days on the ventilator. He's not allowed to see my husband, to help him. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy.
And, what can we expect today?
No, he's in Miami.
You guys did this.
Yeah, she had her.
Your vaccines are genocide.
When we pull up the beaches,
FAUCI, you can't hide. Your vaccines are genocide.
I think they all should have.
Nobody voted for Anthony Fauci. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay fraud! I don't want to see him. And they tell the trending.
I'm an affiliate. I run DarkDox out of Orlando.
I met Alex.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love the voice laugh.
Thanks, man.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water.
Dr. Judy Mikovits has been called one of the most accomplished scientists of her generation. Her 1991 doctoral thesis revolutionized the treatment of HIV/AIDS.
You know that guy? How you been, man?
Dr. Mikovits published a
Good.
blockbuster article in the journal.
I was supposed to come with Jacob Engels and Data Battle Zoo, but I got sick, so yeah.
As it revealed that the common use of animal and human fetal tissues were unleashing devastating plagues of chronic diseases.
I don't like them putting chemicals.
Hello.
Good morning, Fauci. Good morning. I'm very comfortable in there.
So we don't go down where the people are arriving down in the parking lot.
Anthony Fauci is at the bad weasel right now. He must be on that. He's on his high drone, thinking he's all high and mighty. He thinks he can get away with killing people with the vaccine. Well, you're wrong. He's scared. He's up there
vaccine developed to date has been for mumps, and that took 4 years. Now the coronavirus vaccine will take over as a medical textbook legend.
The race for a vaccine has been the biological equivalent of the moonshot.
This is extraordinary. This is the fastest vaccine in history.
Fastest vaccine development in U.S. history.
It will be one of the fastest scientific achievements in modern history.
It's been a mad scramble to immunize the world against a virus that has paralyzed us all, from research to distribution. It's a process that usually takes 5 to 10 years or even longer. But with all eyes and hopes pinned on a silver bullet to hopefully end the pandemic, scientists have already pushed out several vaccines.
The Food and Drug Administration has just approved the first COVID-19 vaccine for use in the U.S.
The FDA giving emergency use authorization of the Moderna vaccine late Friday.
The FDA gives the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine the green light for emergency use.
Vaccines are our best chance of putting this pandemic behind us and returning to normal. And so I want to urge everyone to take the vaccine when it is your turn. It is really pretty pain, and it will save your life.
The data speaks for itself. We are saving lives. Get a shot. I got one. Michelle got one. People you know got one. And now you can get one too.
You want to hang out with us? Get your vaccine.
Go get vaccinated.
Now.
Yeah.
Now.
And we have to get in those communities, and we have to knock on those doors, and we have to convince people and put them in a car and drive them and get that vaccine in their arm.
Let's just get as many people vaccinated as we possibly can.
No.
My birthday, man. Come on. I'm turning 20.
This is the shot I want.
Is it really your birthday?
FAUCI.com.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
It's a good way to spend it.
What's for Miss FAUCI speaking?
You know, I've heard different things. The website said be here at 8:30, so that way ticket holders will see you. So I imagine, you know, it's probably going to be 10, 11 or whatever, and, you know, I guess a little bit after that. So probably any minute. I mean, this is dead. Like, this is not a lot of people.
Coronavirus vaccine will take over as
I mean, I think we have more protesters than attendees.
The race for a vaccine has been the biological equivalent of the moonshot.
This is extraordinary. This is the fastest vaccine in history.
Fastest vaccine development in U.S. history.
It will be one of the fastest scientific achievements in modern history.
It's been a mad scramble to immunize the world against a virus that has paralyzed us all, from research to distribution. It's a process that usually takes 5 to 10 years or even longer. But with all eyes and hopes pinned on a silver bullet to hopefully end the pandemic, scientists have already pushed out several vaccines.
The Food and Drug Administration has just approved the first COVID-19 vaccine for use in the U.S.
The FDA giving emergency use authorization of the Moderna vaccine.
If it works, don't worry about us.
Gives the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine the green light for emergency use.
Vaccines are
My body, my choice, right?
putting this pandemic behind us and returning to normal.
Goes both ways.
And so I want to urge everyone to take the vaccine when it is your turn. It is really pretty pain, and it will save your life.
The data speaks for itself. We are saving lives. Get a shot. I got one. Michelle got one. People you know got one. And now you can get one too.
You want to hang out with us? Get your vaccine.
Go get vaccinated.
Now. Now.
And we have to get in those communities, and we have to knock on those doors, and we have to convince people and put them in a car and drive them and get that vaccine in their arms.
Let's just get as many people vaccinated as we possibly can, as quickly as we can.
We're interested in thinking about ways to incentivize people to get the vaccine.
You're saying I can get this delicious rice, my man, but there's also a burger element to this.
Free glazed donuts, Cardinal tickets, target practice.
A free beer, brand new Tesla, 30 more full scholarships to your choice of whatever institution you want it to be.
$1 million. $5 million.
Vaccination. Fauci, you. I'm getting a very good feeling about vaccination right this moment. It's a fact.
We know that vaccines are the best way to end this pandemic. That is why we are announcing today that we will require vaccinations in the federal public service.
China has launched a so-called vaccine passport for travelers. The European Union has made it easier to travel across borders in the region.
Australians are a step closer to an overseas trip today. Italy is the latest country in Europe to announce a vaccine certificate system. Israelis must now scan in to get it. Los Angeles set to become home to one of the country's strictest vaccine mandates.
Today I announced the key to NYC Pass. Citizens can now display digital certificates via the social media platform WeChat. Travelers can now show a so-called green pass to prove they've been vaccinated against COVID.
The government-issued green pass shows personal details and proves they've had 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. The federal government rolling out technology that proves your COVID-19 vaccine status around the world. Today, New Brunswick and Ontario introduced proof of vaccination passports, joining 4 other provinces. 3 more plan to follow next month. And Newfoundland says it's coming soon.
This is world-leading technology, so bravo, Australia.
In France, anyone entering a venue with more than 60 people inside will need to present this health pass, green pass, common pass.
The key to NYC Pass.
Vax passes,
COVID passport. Vaccine passport.
immunity certificate, international travel health certificate.
But yes, there's got to be a vaccinated economy, and you get to participate in that if you are vaccinated. Don't get the vaccine, you can't go to the supermarket. Don't have the vaccine, can't go to the ball game. Don't have the vaccine, can't go to work. You don't have the vaccine, you can't come here. No shirt, no shoes, no service.
A green check mark means you're clear to travel.
We've got to shake people at this point and say, come on now. We tried voluntary. We could not have been more kind and compassionate as a country. Free testing everywhere you turn. Incentives. Friendly, warm embrace. The voluntary phase is over. It's time for mandates because it's the only way to protect our people.
My body, my choice. My body, my choice. I don't worship Satan. I don't worship Satan. Get another
All right, so more protesters are starting to trickle in, but honestly, the attendance for this show, if you can call it a show, is dismal at best. I mean, you got a bunch of geriatrics that are just fried from vaccines. It's so sad. Honestly, it's pathetic.
15 days to flatten the curve. hospitals are full. After that, everything will be okay. And then, just a few months of wearing the mask. And
Yeah, I'm an affiliate
knock down that
out of
curve, and
Orlando.
all done again. And,
Yeah, I run it, DarkDox.com.
Well, actually 2 years. No, maybe forever. We're told this is the end of the world as we know it. We've got to go to big pharma and big
But yeah, I've been following him
digital passports.
25 years.
Have a car to go outside our house with a 1/2 foot.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a whole press release and everything. Document all this. Christian Coffins.
And the people that have set themselves up to the
Hey, how you doing?
We didn't
by buying the press office, Gates others have done.
Just being here is important, you know. We need to show that we got the numbers, you know.
Incrementally, always saying it's a few more months, a few more years, a few more decades.
All 8 of them.
It's really interesting to look at
greatest hope and the greatest power grab in human history.
because
Yeah.
they should.
They're over-socialized, undereducated.
Thank you.
This is my band, Sacred Owls, yeah.
Because of the what does this mean?
Well, that's the logo for the Bohemian Grove. Alex Jones broke in 2001. So since then, I've been to the Grove twice to protest at the gates. I work with Resist the Grove over there in California, and a lot of this stuff that we see, the New World Order, all that stuff, it started at the Bohemian Grove. Boys Town, Nebraska, the Franklin cover-up, Conspiracy of Silence, the Manhattan Project, 9/11. It was all the Grove. It's in their annals. They brag about it. Yeah, so we have the largest archive on the internet of all of the annals from the members over dating back to the 1890s. They put out one every year for the cremation of care ceremony. So we have a lot of people that spend thousands of dollars getting them from like sons and daughters of dead members. So we have the real books, leather-bound books with the owl on it and stuff. It's crazy stuff. It's closed like 80% of the year. In spring, they do high jinks and low jinks. Actually, last weekend was the beginning of low jinks, and Resist the Grove was out there protesting at the gates. And that's where, honestly, the cremation of care is more about like the occult ritual of the cremation of care and stuff. But during high jinks and low jinks, that's when the fun stuff happens, where you see all of like, the olds, like people like Henry Kissinger in his heyday and stuff, dressing in drag and like, banging the male prostitutes, and that all happens in obviously high jinks, low jinks. Like they're up to shenanigans over there in the Grove. Yeah, it's a little bit more somber during midsummer. It's also very hot. Not on the mountain, but just in general. Like when we drove across the desert in the middle of July, we're like, what are we doing? This is horrible.
There's somebody up on the roof. I wonder how many.
Yeah, we got snipers.
Go in, support a criminal.
Traitors to the country.
He looks worried.
Woo! So you're going to get a lot of hostility from people in our group, and that's because they lost people to these forced vaccinations, this coercion, which is a violation of the Nuremberg Code. And we're sick of it. This guy in here, Anthony Fauci, is a genocidal criminal.
Infowars.com.
And it's not just COVID. It goes back to the 80s with AIDS.
The biggest lie.
He cooked up COVID-19 through gain of function with the Wuhan lab. And you guys paid for it with your tax dollars.
Water.
Go in.
Go in.
We're not stopping you.
Support the lies. One person can say something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let him in. Go in there. Go in.
Let's keep the road clear, guys.
Thank you for being here. We the people. We organize it. He literally said, man, Somehow they think there'd be another one.
I fell in, let me tell you, I almost rolled.
We lied about MS-102 being in the vaccine. If you don't know what MS-102 is, if you look on the FDA's website, it says it's not meant for human use.
How you doing?
Okay, Christian, how about you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I'm John.
So, you lost some family members.
I don't know. These are victims of Fauci's.
Gotcha.
My family members. I'm just helping the person.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for standing up for them.
Yes, sure thing.
Well, when you don't have any listening to this man, shame on you.
Shame on you.
Waiting, and then Pam was waiting. I saw his capital. They're on. They're on. It's coming. Nothing can stop us. Murderer. He's a murderer. He killed my husband. No way.
I want all you attendees to know it's never too late to be on the right side of history. These people are angry because they lost loved ones. If Anthony Fauci is innocent, why did he get a presidential pardon from Joe Biden? Think about it.
That's right. Fauci killed my husband.
You don't need a pardon unless you're a felon.
Fauci killed my husband.
Sorry to hear that.
Killed my husband. Fauci killed my husband. Fauci killed my husband.
What kind of shot did he take?
Protocols in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Protocols. He got remdesivir.
Remdesivir. Yeah, that was the first one to be pulled off the market.
Fauci killed my husband. Fauci killed my husband.
I thought it was safe and effective.
Fauci killed my husband. Fauci killed my husband.
No vax, no college. Anthony Fauci.
You know, my grandson had to take one. He went to Florida Southern. Now I just have to wait and see if something terrible happens to him.
Yep. Well, thanks for coming out here and standing up for this.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Fauci lied! People died! My body, my choice!
If Anthony Fauci is innocent, why did he get a presidential pardon from Joe Biden? Think about it.
Fauci lied! People died! Turbo cancer, strokes, heart attacks, blood clots, Bell's palsy. You name it. Fauci lied. People died. Suddenly died. Athletes falling dead.
The children.
Get another booster because that jab really worked.
Liberals can get the shot. Liberals, you can take the shot.
Exactly. That's part of the plan.
That's okay.
I'm down
Liberals can
for
take
it.
the shot. I get upset when, like a friend of mine last night, another one, she got vaccinated because she wanted to travel.
I know.
Why did Anthony Fauci get a presidential pardon from Joe Biden? None of you have answered my question. I'll keep asking it. You don't have an answer for that. He's a criminal.
My body, my choice. My body, my choice. Heart attack, stroke, turbo cancer.
How did we reach this point where most people are excited to roll up their sleeves for an injection that is causing harm to millions. The big pharma companies can't even produce safe baby powder products. Yet we inject their chemicals and genetically engineered materials. How do people have such blind trust for pharmaceutical firms when they have a history of bribing doctors, racketeering, manipulating research, fraudulent marketing, and rigging trials? How can we be so foolish to believe that Big Pharma will deliver quality vaccines when the industry knows they can't be sued for vaccine damages? The unquestioning belief that COVID shots are safe and effective defies all empirical evidence. Why isn't there an open conversation when our health and livelihood are on the line?
You're not even allowed to question vaccines today. Doctors are taught in medical school that vaccines are safe and effective. That is the dogma they're taught. There is no scientific basis for that claim. Vaccines are not safe. That's clearly evidenced by the fact that since 1986, $4.4 billion have been paid out by the Vaccine Trust to families of damaged people from the HAVs.
That's
So they're
fantastic.
clearly not safe if damage has been paid because they were unsafe. Listen to these figures. The top 4 companies that make vaccines are Merck, Sanofi, Glaxo, and Pfizer. Those 4 companies have been fined over $35 billion over the last couple of decades for falsifying data, lying to regulators, and harming people with their prescription drugs that were taken to market and ended up killing someone or permanently injuring them. $35 billion. Those are the same companies that are manufacturing many of the vaccines today. And as our good friend Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says, are we supposed to believe that somehow they found Jesus when it comes to vaccines? They lie and cheat and steal in all these other areas with the pharmaceutical drugs, but when it comes to the vaccines they're manufacturing, they're completely safe and they're telling us the truth. That just doesn't make sense. It's another case of cognitive dissonance.
Tonight, keeping drug companies honest, a story that's simply stunning about multi-million-dollar profits and illegal activity at this country's biggest drug company.
Pfizer, the drug maker, will pay a $2.3 billion civil penalty in connection with illegal prescription drug promotions.
Pfizer has agreed to pay $2.3 billion, the largest healthcare fraud settlement in the history of the Department of Justice.
Bribing doctors across this country with Hawaii vacation tickets to Madonna. And why? They wanted those doctors to sell your family their drugs, and many did.
The Justice Department alleges Johnson & Johnson boosted sales by paying millions of dollars in kickbacks to pharmacists and doctors who pushed the drug Risperdal to patients who did not need it.
Johnson & Johnson paid $2.2 billion. Eli Lilly paid $1.4 billion. Pfizer and its subsidiary paid $2.3 billion. And GlaxoSmithKline paid out a record $3 billion.
More legal trouble for Johnson & Johnson. A Philadelphia jury has ordered it to pay $8 billion in punitive damages. But as Bob Orr reports, the massive settlement may not lead to much change.
Most of the top, without naming an individual company, $1 billion in fines for criminal activities, which involve hiding data on harm, illegal marketing of drugs, for example, and there's nothing that's been done here, they point out before, nothing's been done to rectify the situation.
No one's going to jail, no one's going to prison. If you look this thing in,
The number one question is, if Anthony Fauci is not a criminal, why did he get a presidential pardon from Joseph Biden? You only need a pardon if you're a criminal. You only need a pardon if you're a felon. Did he see something coming? I think so.
Yes. My husband died of the protocol. Mine did.
Yeah.
Mine had the vaccine.
That
see?
happens when you get it.
No, you don't see how they were treated in the hospital.
You got to look up the VAERS reports.
How they were treated.
Fauci was behind gain-of-function research. The COVID-19 vaccine was cooked up in the Wuhan lab with NIH dollars. Your tax dollars paid for a weaponized coronavirus.
Fauci lied. Fauci lied.
You don't need a presidential pardon if you're not a felon.
Fauci lied.
Why are you guys giving money to a criminal? A mass murderer.
Yeah, go in there. Go see this man right here. Watch out. He's going to stick a laser.
Excuse me, who are you with?
DarkDox.com.
Helen Chandra. I'm with Rift TV today.
Oh,
Nice
nice.
to meet you. Yeah, are you local?
No, I came from Orlando.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more about.
DarkDox.com, we're an affiliate of InfoWars. We work with the Gateway Pundit, and we do a podcast on YouTube Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. called DarkDox Digest.
Can I interview you?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Reported by RFK's son.
We have and inhibiting DNA damage repair, a witch's brew that inserts engineered mRNA into your cells using new technologies like nanolipids, hydrogels, and graphene oxide. What exactly are these injections?
All right.
Well, the first thing that we need to do when we talk about the COVID shot is understand that this is the first time that we've ever had mRNA vaccines put out to people on a mass scale.
mRNA is messenger RNA. It's a message that's being sent from your DNA to your cells.
If Anthony Fauci isn't a criminal, why did he get a presidential pardon? Only convicted felons get presidential pardons. Think about it. Watch the film Plandemic. Watch the films COVID Land.
1 and 2.
And 3. Got a trilogy. They got a COVID Land for the lockdowns. They got a COVID Land for the mask. They got a COVID Land for the shots.
Sent into the slaughter.
Again, you only get a presidential pardon if you're a convicted felon. Anthony Fauci got one. Why? That's weird. Yeah, he pardoned convicted felons. Why did Anthony Fauci get a pardon? He wasn't charged with anything, was he? Is he going to be charged with something?
Going to the slaughter sheet.
Now, some of these people are going to insult you because they lost loved ones. I understand them. But I also understand how persuasive the mainstream media propaganda is. Propaganda is very powerful. So I understand how you fell for it. In Germany during World War II, a lot of Germans fell for the Nazis. Yet coercion for a medical procedure is a violation of the Nuremberg Code. So we're dealing with those same problems today. Do your research. Watch the film Plandemic. Watch the film COVID Lands. It's never too late to join the right side of history. All these people here that are very upset lost loved ones. 2 of the shots, not COVID. They died from the prions. They died from the mRNA. It was an experimental gene therapy that you all fell for.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you? So again, a lot of these people are very upset because they lost loved ones because they were coerced into an experimental gene therapy that killed their loved ones. They use coercion, which is a violation of the Nuremberg Code. Look it up. Why was Anthony Fauci pardoned by Joseph Biden? Is he a convicted felon? Should he be a convicted felon? I mean, Biden pardoned him. Why would they pardon him if he's not a convicted felon? It's unusual. That's the false equivalency. But I expect nothing less. I should have died of COVID? All right, you're going to become famous now. Why should I have died of COVID? Nothing to say. The tolerant left. I don't blame you. You've been programmed by propaganda. They're very good at it. Do your research. Watch the film Plandemic.
Telling yourselves what to do to maintain health. In this case, create a protein. Do something to defend a foreign invader. But in this case, that message from RNA is not coming from us. It's coming from a laboratory, Moderna, or Pfizer. It's a program, a code, a message that's being sent to yourself, telling yourself to become a virus manufacturing plant.
Mendo Brando.
Is deliver this messenger RNA molecule, which is the code for protein, into our cells, and it has a special envelope that merges with our cells and delivers the contents inside. And then, once inside, it will use the machinery of our cells and make that foreign protein. So our
Yes, and I feel like that was probably one of the worst ways he could have worded that or put that statement with guidance around the measles. I mean, everybody who's been in this space knows how bad it is. We know it's not the most effective way to stop measles. The argument people make is that he's playing a game to not lose his job before he can get in there and dismantle the industry, which I'm okay to hear that now. But I think everybody who's been in this vaccine space heart sank when they heard him say that. And not just that, when he congratulated Warp Speed for Trump, these are multiple situations that were just like, wow, really? You would write books about this stuff. So it was very disheartening to hear. With that said, I've seen him sort of dismantle the vaccine industry piece by piece in his first month. Taking away promotions, new campaigns, new studies, buying new vaccines. He's calling it fluoridation. He's doing a lot, but that other stuff wasn't accepted. I mean, that's just where we're at. I guess I wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because just because he may be making a bad strategy decision on how to play that game, I think we still need him to help fix the health agencies. And I truly think in his heart, he doesn't think the internet is good. I think he said that to If the heart is compromised, I would entertain that discussion on Israel. I don't really think that it's compromised in the health. I think he's playing his strategy the way he sees fit. I don't agree with it all the time, and I know other people don't either. But he acts a little more strange when people bring up the Israel influence over American politics. His interview with Dave Smith, he gave an 8-second pause. That's a long time in an interview. I mean, if I stood here for 8 seconds right now, we'd all get pretty off. So it was like, maybe he's blackmailed there. That's what I'm more inclined to believe. Instagram and Twitter, I'm most active, Justin_WeAreChange. But I'm also on Telegram, Rumble, WeAreChange Orlando.
He needs your card for a reason. Maybe he's a criminal.
Think about it. You can do it. Take just a little bit.
Cells will essentially become factories to make a foreign protein. That's what this vaccine does. It makes your own cells the enemy. It makes your cells start creating very specifically the spike protein we've all heard about of SARS-CoV-2. And then what happens is hopefully there's a secondary response where the immune system says, oh my God, there's a virus in here. It didn't see it come from the outside. All of a sudden our own cells are creating it. So our immune system attacks and kills our own cells that are now manufacturing the virus inside of our body. That is brand new. And look, I'm a fan of science. That may be the future of health and immunity, but you don't take a technology that is turning your body into a virus manufacturing plant and then just say, hey, we've looked at it for a few weeks, we think it's good to go, and then have hundreds of millions of people start turning themselves into virus manufacturing plants. Any technology that does something brand new inside of our bodies needs to be watched for years, if not decades. So the truth is that we don't know exactly what this technology is going to induce our bodies to make. And that is a very scary proposition. But it definitely will change our cells so that they will produce this protein. But it stands to reason that that mRNA can easily become part of our DNA in the nucleus as well. And this is because we have an enzyme expressed in our cells called reverse transcriptase. Now, during the HIV era, it was thought that this enzyme was only expressed in viruses. But since that time, and actually during that time, it was really known, and David Baltimore discovered this, that reverse transcriptase, the enzyme, is expressed in all of our cells. And it's a way that we repair our DNA. And so it's quite likely that this mRNA and then say, well, you can, after 4 weeks, you can then start giving this to millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of people.
A vaccine needs to go through due process to get to the point where it can be deemed safe. And the gold standard for that would be a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial. And by placebo-controlled, I mean that if a randomized population, half are randomized to get the active vaccine and half are randomized to get a completely inert placebo that is not reactive in humans at all. And only by doing that study and examining the outcome over a long period will you determine the safety of the vaccine compared with the placebo. What we see with vaccines is this has never been done. So the placebo that they have used, that the FDA has allowed them to use, has often been another vaccine. A vaccine with a known adverse reaction profile that's causing death and damage in its own right. That it's the aluminum as an adjuvant in the vaccine, a known neurotoxin, a known immunotoxin, a known poison in human beings that is in the supposedly inert placebo. Totally inappropriate. This is not good science. It is not science at all. It is an effort to cover up the true adverse reaction rate to these vaccines so that they can get through the low barrier of constraints put there by the FDA and onto the market. That is the only concern.
It really shouldn't surprise us that pharmaceutical companies cut corners and rig trials, especially for the COVID jab. These companies stand to benefit from you being routinely unhealthy. Think about it. The government coercing, intimidating, and mandating us to take the COVID jab is the holy grail of business models for these vicious big pharma drug dealers. Your health is not their concern.
You cannot rush science. You cannot rush
a product about which you know nothing of the short, medium, or long-term consequences. There is a bandwagon that is driven by huge dollars to get the first vaccine, to get the second vaccine, to get the 10th vaccine to market in order to profit. And believe me, having dealt with the pharmaceutical companies, they don't care what happens 5-10 years down the line. There's a lot of money to be taken out of the coffer right now, and a lot of money to be made if they can be one of those chosen few vaccines. And so I have huge misgivings about this entire approach to vaccination.
Again, there's a law that I have to abide by as a physician. It's called informed consent. And I have to be able to give you the risk versus the benefit of a medication, a therapy, an injection, etc. And if we don't have that data, which we clearly don't, and we won't for at least 2 years of doing these injections, how can I possibly, as a physician, give you informed consent? And how can you possibly, as a consumer, understand your risk, short-term and long-term, versus your benefits of getting these injections?
We won't know it causes cancer for 3 to 5 years. If it causes autoimmune disease like diabetes or lupus or multiple sclerosis, we won't know. Those things take 3 to 5 years to develop, even if your body just started creating it because of the vaccine right now. And then the biggest issue that we've looked at with our nonprofit is something that nobody in the media is talking about. This vaccine has a severe diabolical side effect that we witnessed in every single animal trial they did of a coronavirus vaccine for the last 20 years. It's called antibody-dependent enhancement. And when we saw that Trump was going to warp speed this vaccine, we started investigating. Well, it's never been in a human being. We've never had this mRNA technology as a vaccine injected into any human before. So all we have is how did the animal trials go?
There were animal models, ferrets. Ferrets are actually quite a good mirror of human immunity in many ways to viruses. So they used ferrets in the laboratory. And so they gave experimental vaccine for the SARS virus, the coronavirus, to these ferrets. Once again, no adverse reaction. And they produced a good immune response. It looked like a success until those animals were challenged with the SARS, the natural SARS
I have 5 more Arrest Fauci buttons. If you want one, come see the Enforce flag. Any more of those shirts?
I don't think so, man. I grabbed one right near the end, and I was like,
damn.
I was told there would be hundreds. There was only like 80.
Yeah.
But whatever.
They're cool.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man.
And every single time, what we saw was horrific. Instead of the vaccine and the antibodies protecting the animal from the virus, it actually grabbed the virus and helped the virus proliferate through the cells, causing what's called a cytokine storm, a total immune system meltdown. It described it as TH2 pathology in the lungs.
Hey, how you doing?
Jill Kiley. I've got Ann Vander still here.
Hi.
We're streaming live.
Awesome.
So we're trying to catch up with everybody. Where are you from?
Orlando.
You're from Orlando. Okay.
Yeah, I run DarkDox.com, and I'm the front man of the anti-New World Order rock band Sacred Owls.
Yeah, so I'm out here to support my fellow colleagues here. It's amazing that Anthony Fauci hasn't been arrested yet. I mean, after all he's done, and none of these people can seem to answer my one question: why was he pardoned by Joe Biden if he's not a convicted felon?
Very good point. Very good point.
It's really the only point. Like, he must have did something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys local?
We're actually from the Naples area. Right? But we know all the warriors up here in Sarasota and have been back and forth.
Nice.
From Sarasota and all the tragedy that has happened up here around the hospital.
Yeah.
And so forth. But it's a great place to join together. We're going to have a wonderful day.
Yeah, definitely. I'm putting all this together into like a short documentary that you can catch at my site, DarkDox.com. That's DARKDOX, because we dox the dark.
Wonderful. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Respiratory fatigue conditions, and often organ failure and death. In one cat study,
This Fauci roach is the best.
died.
Yeah.
I love it.
after coming in contact with the virus
I'm going to show you the law
after having
people
had
here.
the vaccine.
Yeah. All right, guys, pop quiz. The question of the day: if Anthony Fauci is not a convicted felon, then why did Joe Biden pardon him? Why did Anthony Fauci need a pardon from Joe Biden? It's weird, right? Look it up. That's right. He is a genocidal murderer. I have 4 more buttons, by the way, if anyone wants a free button. My body, my choice, right, guys? If your shot works, you can take it. Don't force it on me and my kids and my loved ones. All the people here that are upset they lost loved ones. That's why they're here. But I want all of you attendees to know it's never too late to join the right side of history. Do your research. Watch the film Plandemic. Watch the miniseries COVID Land. If you have science on your side, you have nothing to hide.
I'll tell you what, there's no shortage of Looney Tunes in this world, right?
One of the things that we're not hearing a lot about is the unique potential safety problem of coronavirus vaccines. With certain types of respiratory virus vaccines, you get immunized, and then when you get actually exposed to the virus, you get this kind of paradoxical immune enhancement phenomenon. When we started developing coronavirus vaccines in our colleagues, we noticed in laboratory animals that they started to show some of the same immune pathology that resembled what had happened 50 years earlier. So we said, oh my God, this is going to be problematic.
We have a history of this response. There was an RSV vaccine program back in the 1960s that they gave to children thinking it was safe. Everyone was doing fine. Kids were running around playing in the playground until they came in contact with RSV. And then what was normally a fairly mild illness became deadly. As reported by Reuters, children in Washington, D.C. received an RSV vaccine in the late 1960s, in which the virus was inactivated with formalin. 80% of the kids given the shot were hospitalized with severe respiratory disease, and 2 died. A year and a half ago, there was a dengue vaccine in the Philippines. We gave Dengvaxia to thousands of people believing it was safe. Everybody was doing fine until dengue came to town, and then all of a sudden what would normally be dysentery and some discomfort and diarrhea for a few days, over 600 people died because the vaccine acted as a catalyst when coming in contact with the illness.
Killed my husband.
Anthony Fauci killed a lot of the loved ones, including this woman. A lot of the loved ones are the people here today.
Fauci killed my husband.
It's never too late to join the right side of history. Do your research. Watch the film Plandemic. Watch the miniseries COVID Land.
Fauci killed my husband. Fauci killed my husband. Don't forget the social distance. Fauci killed my husband. Fauci killed my husband.
You can shoot up whatever you want. My body, my choice, right? See, I don't do drugs. I don't shoot things into my veins. Why did Anthony Fauci get a presidential pardon from Joe Biden? Did he do something wrong? I think so. If your shot works, why do we have to take it? We solved that during the Nuremberg Code. Using coercion against a people is a violation of the Nuremberg Code. If your shot works, then don't worry about us. That shot killed a lot of the loved ones of the people you see here today. We're not like the left. We don't have paid protesters. These people have hearts and minds. They've done their research, and that's why they stand on business here today. You can learn the truth at Infowars.com, at DarkDox.com. I'm an affiliate out of Orlando. I run DarkDox. How you doing? I'm Christian.
I'm Will.
Hey.
Nice to meet you. Can I get a picture with you, bro?
Yeah.
All right, cool. He loves Infowars.
Oh,
my dad.
I'm so sorry.
All right.
It is deadly hospital protocol. He would be decimated. What could he possibly tell you? That would be good. He's
All right, cool. I got some goodies for you guys.
Sweet.
You don't like that pesky Bohemian Grove, do you?
No. Hell no.
Got one of those, and I have a couple more of these just for today. There you go. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out.
Going on my truck.
Hell yeah.
You can fool some of the people all the time.
The dengue vaccine in children who've never been exposed to dengue before actually made them worse when they were then exposed to the natural virus. Much worse. Causing something called dengue hemorrhagic shock syndrome. Children died. Vaccinated children who were less than 9 years of age, who had never been exposed to dengue before, were more likely to die if they'd been vaccinated than if they hadn't been vaccinated. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's a problem. And that's cool. That was because of antibody-dependent enhancement. Because what happens is those binding antibodies, they don't neutralize the virus, they just bind to it. And now we have on our cells something called an Fc receptor, which then can allow that antibody, will bind the antibody and bring the virus into the cell. It's actually a more efficient way for the virus to enter the cell than otherwise. So what you're doing by creating all these binding antibodies is potentially causing this antibody-dependent enhancement, which could worsen the problem if you then were exposed to wild type or natural virus.
Antibody-dependent enhancement and pathogenic priming are two problematic outcomes that are likely to follow mass uptake of the COVID shots. Anthony Fauci is well aware of this.
Does the vaccine make you worse? And there are diseases in which you vaccinate someone, they get infected with what you're trying to protect them with, and you actually enhance the infection. You can get a good feel for that in animal models. So that's going to be interspersed at the same time that we're testing. We're going to try and make sure we don't have enhancement. It's the worst possible thing you could do. somebody to prevent infection and actually make them worse.
Well, I sense, of course, this Dr. Fauci is right to be cautious because vaccines have to be tested because there's precedent for vaccines actually make disease worse. And you really don't want to make it. You want to rush and treat a million people and find out you make it 900,000 of them worse. It's a good idea. So, yeah. So that's why I think why Dr. Fauci is being a little bit cautious. I don't want to speak to him, but so we need to prove that.
This would not be the first time, if it happens, that a vaccine that looked good in initial safety actually made people worse. There was a history of the respiratory syncytial virus vaccine in children, which paradoxically made the children worse. One of the HIV vaccines that we tested several years ago actually made individuals more likely to get infected. So you can't just go out there and give it unless you feel that in the field, when someone is getting infected and exposed, being vaccinated doesn't make them worse.
This is what we've witnessed in every animal trial prior to warp speeding this product into human beings. And at the end of many of those animal trials, it would say, caution in moving forward with human trials. That's how afraid scientists were of this technology and how bad it was working in the trials. When we look at the billions of dollars that sank into this trial and we saw the warp speed, we don't see any adjustment. There's not a huge adjustment from the product that was killing animals to what's being given to human beings. But what we do see is an excuse by the FDA when they give it emergency use authorization. They say about this antibody-dependent enhancement or immune enhancement issue, the trial was not designed to look for that problem. Therefore, we don't know if the vaccine could cause immune enhancement immediately or maybe by its waning strength in the future. More studies will have to be done. More studies will have to be done on a product that killed animals in the animal trials to know if this is going to kill people. And now we're hearing that the surveillance systems won't be in place to really see what's happening to the health of people until after Joe Biden has injected 100 million people in the United States of America. Can you imagine if we discover at that moment that everybody that's been injected is now vulnerable to immune enhancement, where next year's coronavirus, which should just be a common cold, will come, and instead of dying at about a 0.4% death rate, which is what the current coronavirus has, 0.4, less than 0.5%, what if the people that have been injected start dying 5%, 10% of them, 20%? What if it's as high as 90%? This is possible. It's theoretically possible. And to rush a vaccine until you've figured out that you've overcome this theoretic possibility, to me, is verging on madness.
They claimed the payload of these shots would stay near the injection site, in the deltoid muscle. We know from animal biodistribution studies and victims of COVID vaccine injury that the spike protein is present throughout the entire body. In other words, both the synthetic mRNA and the nanoparticulates distribute all over the body, even passing through the various blood barriers to end up in organ systems. These cells, in turn, become toxic and produce the spike protein, which releases into the bloodstream, where they can be taken up by endothelial cells that line our blood vessel walls, and potentially bind to platelets, causing blood clots. Nanoparticulates have also been shown to reverse the charge of red blood cells, another clotting factor. Blood clots can then potentially circulate and lodge into different areas such as the heart, brain, and lungs, causing heart attacks, strokes, and pulmonary embolisms. A weakening of your blood vessel walls can lead to rupture, causing vascular damage, internal bleeding, and other circulatory problems, which can initially manifest as migraines, fatigue, and blurred vision.
Just think of how many people you know that are complaining of chronic fatigue, headaches, and muscle aches since getting the shots. The injuries that follow these mRNA injections are not a medical mystery, and they are not rare.
What are the side effects of the COVID vaccine? Firstly, let's divide them into those side effects that are predictable and those that are unpredictable. The way that safety studies are often set up is they look for only those adverse reactions that are predictable based upon the known behavior of vaccines in the past. And that is a mistake. It's a mistake. Let me give you an example of such a mistake, and that is when the flu mist vaccine was given to children in Europe, it produced narcolepsy. There was no way of predicting narcolepsy as an adverse reaction from product inserts or from a previous history or analysis of vaccine injury databases. It was a novel adverse reaction. So you've got to look for the unexpected. You've got to look for the unknown. You've got to be comprehensive. But there's a disincentive for pharmaceutical industries to do that because you don't want to find something that may lead to the marketability of your vaccine being compromised. So the predictable adverse reactions, known adverse reactions to vaccines, anaphylaxis, a rapid, dramatic allergic response which compromises the airways and can be rapidly fatal in previously healthy people. Everybody now knows what anaphylaxis is and looks like, and the use of EpiPens, for example, to treat it. That's been occurring at an alarming rate with the COVID vaccine, with the Pfizer vaccine, 10 times the rate that it was seen with the flu vaccine already.
There are so many issues and so many dangerous things, and the nanotechnology, the nanolipid protocol that they're using to deliver this kind of injection inside of you, it has an ingredient called polyethylene glycol. Very important to know because up to 70% of people in the United States have some sort of allergy to it. It could be maybe something small like fatigue or a rash, or it could be very grand like an anaphylactic shock.
And the medical response to this is, well, there's not a problem because we know how to deal with that. But I have never seen a study that looked at the long-term health consequences of having an anaphylactic shock. And what if you've had 3 anaphylactic shocks? Are these people supposed to show up again and get another vaccine? No. The guidance is don't vaccinate. But there's other pegylated products in the market, so if the vaccine makes them more susceptible to PEG-related product anaphylaxis, the vaccine may prime them for future anaphylaxis that's not related to the vaccine. These are real risks.
That means when you get this shot, we don't have any answers on what will happen to you. If they tell you that it's safe and effective, they're lying because we don't have the data yet. They're assuming that. They need to tell you that you are part of a stage 4 research experiment. You are the lab rat. You are the guinea pig.
One of the big potential risks of this vaccine is sterility, because if the viral protein actually encodes protein parts that match key proteins that are responsible for sexual maturation, responsible for the formation of sperm.
And you will see the rest of our group. There's more people up there. Get your COVID bioweapon right here. COVID bioweapon. When you see the construct comes out from the side, two constructs, two constructs, cutting right free. Two sides two, and construct. 3 French fries with your construct.
You got it, Justin?
I think so.
Fantastic.
Or responsible for the regular cycling that women go through in their menstrual period, we could potentially see increase in the population level of infertility. And so in the name of the greater good of vaccinating, parents may be unwittingly sterilizing their children.
In the Waterloo area, 86 stillbirths have occurred from January to July. Normally, it's roughly one stillbirth every 2 months. But here's the kicker. Mothers of stillbirth babies were fully vaccinated. You've clearly said on numerous occasions that the vaccines are safe. Minister, what did you say to the doctors who told expecting women it's important to get fully vaccinated? And what should they tell the mothers who deliver stillborn babies?
It is something to behold. Hundreds of millions of people demand to be injected with genetically engineered materials that will interface with their immune systems and natural cellular processes. The vaccine contents are known to accumulate in the ovaries, which can lead to permanent damage of these organs, producing menstrual cycle problems and ultimately fertility issues. We also have the real possibility that the vaccine accelerates.
The hard thing about flags, they're always moving.
Yeah,
I know. You gotta get that Pulitzer shot.
Big Pharma is poised to medicine. Long-term issues like infertility and the quickening of cancers are not medical misinformation. Doctors that work with patients are
No, Orlando.
Orlando? Okay.
Yeah, run DarkDox.com.
I met you at CPAC years ago.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you look really cool, man.
Do you have your father or anything?
Huh?
What am I seeing in the laboratory? I'm seeing an
DarkDox.
herpes family virus.
Yeah, I went on your stuff and checked some stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, do you guys know how far the 5 points mark is?
I'm not sure.
The cervical biopsies and the cervical pap smears in women. We're literally weakening the immune system of these individuals.
That's sticker for you.
Aren't you a musician too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is for the band.
The body that keep cancer in check.
That's your band Sacred House. Are you gonna play today?
Huh?
Are you playing today?
I will if you want me to.
Endometrial cancer.
I'm not on the bill though.
20 times.
I don't know. I saw that there was some musicians. I didn't see who.
My numbers year over year. Oh my gosh, I've never seen this many.
This is off the record right now.
Uh huh.
Like, what inspires you to start DarkDox? Like how long have you been? Would you consider that like dark MAGA?
Whoa.
Totally different.
There we go. Well, what started it for me was I know several people that are victims of satanic ritual abuse and human trafficking. And so that's what started the rabbit hole for me. And
Are you evangelical?
no, I'm a Christian, but I wouldn't call myself evangelical.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with anything as long as people are nice.
Yeah, exactly. That's my big thing. Like, I'm all about, exposing corruption, spreading the truth, keeping the peace.
Did they already do the picture? Did you guys already do your picture? No.
They're probably going to do it at the event, I would imagine.
I have no idea. I think I'm lagging the group here.
Yeah, I am too. Oh, this shot is good. Hold on. I got the Van Weasel. Bro, you guys tell the story right now.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
The Van Weasel's in the back. Good talking to you, man.
Yeah, you too. I'll see you around.
Endometrial cancers before. I'm seeing invasive melanomas in younger patients. Normally we catch those early and they're thin melanomas. I'm seeing thick melanomas skyrocketing in the last month or two. I'm already seeing the early signals, and we are modifying the immune system to a weakened state.
If the ruling class cared about your health, they would monitor for adverse events beyond a short 15-minute period following the injection. Most reactions outside of 15 minutes are deemed to have no connection to the vaccine, which is absurd. The media have convinced most people to look forward to adverse events as a good sign that the vaccine is doing its job and that you have a robust immune system. As a result, many are suffering in silence.
Holy shit.
You're a brave woman wearing those shoes all day.
I've been on your guys' show. Yeah, no, I mean, you know what? The back is not bad. It's the front of them. But I didn't walk all the way down here. I just walked from there to there.
Okay.
And now I'm like, okay. I'm
Still, I couldn't walk 10 feet in those things.
Yeah, I'm struggling for it. I'm supposed to speak today, so.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you look great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I went on with Owen Schroyer, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on a couple of times with him to tell my story.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was your name again?
Carolina Stanzik.
Okay, Christian.
meet you.
Christian Coffin's pleasure.
Have I not met you? You look oddly familiar.
I might have seen you at something.
Okay.
I'm around.
In this.
I'm from Orlando, but I make the rounds.
Okay. I'm like, you look familiar.
At 8 p.m. at youtube.com/Sacred Owls.
We probably met at some event or have seen you or something like
Yeah,
that.
CPAC or something.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All of those events.
Yeah.
Someone left the phone right there.
Oh.
Why are we going in the grass?
Oh, no.
Ah.
Now watch that ankle.
Oh, I know. Well, it's kind of nice on these heels and this grass.
I tried to stick with the I don't know.
Well, it's kind of nice though.
All right, so the people at the intersection are going to walk over here. A lot of the people that were at the intersection said, we're not waiting, we're going to 5 Points Park now. But this little group is going to come over here and take a picture with us if you all want to get this knocked out real quick.
Yeah.
We'll all go to the park.
That way.
Jim went to get the car, and he's coming back. He's going to drive you guys
Which way are we facing?
You're doing the camera, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, this is a camera that's rolling. We're doing this way. I'll get behind the signs.
All right.
Get behind the signs and the pretty ladies. That's what I do.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. That's right.
He'll blend right in.
Getting closer.
I am a pretty lady.
Oh my God.
That's what the left says,
it's
right?
2025, right?
No social distancing.
Yeah.
No, wait. What is this gap? Get closer. Get friendly. Let's go.
Yes, ma'am. I love it. That's okay. Let me get my little Trump card out.
Oh, that's so cute. The gap. Really could be in the left. I want to get my bow in there. Look. It's toasty.
Jail FAUCI.
Shit. No, I'm blessing it up here. I need that shade over in.
I love that she had two cameras
Son of a
going.
biscuit.
Everybody say freedom!
Freedom!
I hope one of the photos I'm like. All right, that is toasty.
Melton.
Holy shit.
Oh.
What are we doing?
All right, so everyone's meeting at Selby 5
You guys
Points
drove down
Park.
here?
How late
So
are
you
you
all
staying
know.
today?
I'm sorry?
How late are you staying?
Probably to like 3-ish. I'm going back to Orlando, so I want to beat that traffic. You know.
I had to drive that way. That traffic's a nightmare. I'm from New
Both
York.
ways, it's a
I'm from
dog.
New York City, and it's a nightmare.
I got up at 4 a.m. and there was like 3 accidents, a tire blowout in front of me. It was wild getting over here. It was like 3.5 hours. It's supposed to be like 2 something. Well, a lot of it is, everyone going to Disney with rental cars from all over the world. They give rental cars to anybody, so
even illegal aliens.
Oh yeah, and then they're driving semis. They're driving them off mountains and stuff. You've been seeing those reports? It's crazy. Ah, you missed it.
I think we just gotta wait. Hold on. For the rally, guys.
And they tell the trannies how the trannies go, rip me off. Get into it. Jump up and down. Oh my gosh, so trendy. So trendy. Oh my gosh, so trendy. Okay. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the freaking frogs gay. Serious crap, gay. Frogs, freaking frogs. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay frogs. Won't you fight for your life? Frogs, freaking frogs. I don't like a frog. Freaking frogs. Frogs.
Yeah, the vaccines are more dangerous than the diseases they tell us to be afraid of. You go through the MMR, the HPV, the COVID, all that stuff, you are way, 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 way more likely to die from a shot. This is backed up by science, scientists that have been censored. I mean, it's all out there. People just have to look pretty hard to find it because all of our sources of information are hidden and censored.
And Trump's a Zionist. He's not going to do anything about this. He's one of them. It's all about position. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Selby, 5 Points Park.
Trump's pro-genocide.
The rally starts in about 15 minutes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
What's this? Who do you work with? Washington, D.C. Oh, you know Ford Fisher?
Yeah. That's what I'm here working for.
Oh, that's too funny. I was marching with Ford in D.C. like 10 years ago. I was with the Honda stuff.
I'm Dave Decker.
Cool, man. Nice to meet you. Yeah, Ford's always done good work, man. He's very persistent.
Justin, can we get? I know Roser. Can we get a quick picture with you? Hey, Justin. How you doing? I'll take it. Michelle, just let me take it. Cause yeah, we gotta hurry. Okay. You want to grab him too? My call you later. I got him already.
The Roach with us.
Y'all want to hold Mr. Roach! Mr. Roach! You want to be in the picture with us?
You gotta call him Papa Roach.
Take a picture real quick. Yeah, I'm just going to use my guys. 1, 2, 3. I love it.
It was great. It's worth the drive, wasn't it? Even though the traffic was fast. What time did you end up getting here? That's the time I got here.
So I would say overall this event so far has been quite a success. It started off slow, but we were there just in time for all of the people coming into the event. Now we're going to be going over to 5 Points Park in Sarasota for a festival. Apparently they're going to be there's going to be speakers and music and all kinds of stuff, so we'll continue the coverage.
You're coming here? Yeah, when Maddie gets back down here, we'll get together.
Good.
All right, we're here at 5 Points Park.
Got the John Birch Society. How you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Very good, very good.
This man puts his money and his heart into the cause. Where is Vic Miller? Vic Miller. He did not want to take the stage, but Vic, thank you for everything you do. You guys don't realize, but Sarasota County had, a couple of years ago, we had an illegal mask mandate where they forced masks on our children in public school. And a lot of families were at their wits' end. What are we going to do? We need mask exemptions. And Vic Miller really took the lead in championing the vaccine, I guess, passport vaccine exemption program out at the Hollow Tree. There were thousands and thousands of families that showed up, and we knew then, Vic, that you are a community leader. God bless you. God bless you and Magna for what you do.
Also, being a veteran, understands the sacrifice it takes to continue liberty, right? It requires a very significant level of sacrifice. It requires your money, your time, your life, and sometimes all three. And Vic Miller understands that on a soul purpose, on a soul level. And so we are absolutely thankful for him and his generosity. And we are just appreciative of everything that you're able to do for us. So thank you.
That's right. Vic Miller is the owner of the Hollow 2A. It's a nonprofit. Also, We the People Health and Wellness Center in Venice.
It's a biohack center, you guys. You have to go biohack your health. Visit the We the People Health and Wellness Center in Venice, Florida. It's phenomenal.
He's also the owner of the Hollow Forever Free, which is another nonprofit, does a lot of great things for children. And Allie and I, along with Vic, are co-directors of the Hollow Alliance, bringing lobbying, candidate training, and a 501c4 right here to Sarasota County. We are going to change the makeup of politics as you know it.
They're going to wish we were elected.
They're going to wish they just would have elected us.
I'm saying.
All right, do we have our keynote speaker in the wings? I want to double check. Are we good? Okay, I want to welcome the person who has helped make Florida remain free through all that COVID debacle. None other than Florida's Surgeon General, Joseph Ladapo. He's coming, he's coming. You know, I want to stall just a minute. There was a rumor that he was being considered for CDC director. How cool would that have been?
That would have been really cool. Yeah. We do like him in Florida.
All right, we're holding up. We're holding up. Ladapo for governor. Thank you, Joseph Ladapo.
Hey guys, good morning. Good morning. I had a question. I thought Susan was going to be up here, but I don't see her. Susan, how much time do I have to talk? Because I want to. 2 hours max. Does anyone? All right. Okay, I'll just go. Okay. Okay. Hey, what's going on, brother? Hey. All right. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. Is that okay? Is that all right? Can you guys hear me? Okay, all right. If I need to move, you let me know. Okay, all right, cool. Okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me here. Thank you very much for inviting me here. Thank you to Susan. Thank you to Vic. Thank you to all the freedom warriors out there who, with your hearts and your intention, have been fighting for freedom many years, for many of you, many years longer than I have been. So thank you all. Thank you everyone who's out here and who's been fighting, who's going to keep fighting. I'm really happy to be here. Susan and her group told me that one of our besties, Dr. FAUCI, has come to somehow dared to come to the state of Florida to come and talk. And so, so whenever there's a message from Dr. Fauci, it's good to have a counter message. And that's how it's been for many years, especially over the last few years. And fortunately, the counter message prevails because Dr. Fauci's message is about Dr. Fauci and his interests, and the counter message is about our interests as human beings and what is best, what we view as what is best for humanity and human freedom and human dignity. So I'm definitely happy to be here representing that alongside with you all. So there's so much happening. The world is so different now than it was, a few years ago, and in fact, even a few months ago. It's so much different. Thankfully, we have a different leader at the top of the executive branch with President Trump, and we have a different leader at Health and Human Services with Dr. Robert Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I want to give him a doctorate. And there's so many other good things, right? Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, a good friend of mine, along with Bobby. So the world is very different here. They're very different now, and that is a wonderful thing. I mean, yes, everyone out here, absolutely, everyone out here is willing to keep fighting for as long as it takes. But it's nice when there's a little bit of weight taken off of the wagon, right? If when the burden is a little bit lighter, and so the burden is a little bit lighter. But let me remind us all, for anyone who's unclear, and I think most of you are very clear. But for anyone who is unclear, the burden is still very heavy. The burden is still very heavy because, unfortunately, the bad guys, the guys who are anti-human, the guys who have put their agendas above the needs and the rights and the dignity of human beings, they've been at it for a while. So the playing field is a mess and beset with one after the other of risks and just assaults on our health and our freedom and our ability to be and achieve all that God has ordained us to be able to achieve and be. So there's so much more work still to be done. So here in Florida, fortunately, we have Governor DeSantis, who plucked me out of UCLA some years ago and brought me here to Florida. And and obviously he was working really by himself, right? Many of you were here in the state at that time. He had the bravery to go against the huge wall, the COVID narrative wall that had been built up, constructed brick by brick by my colleagues as physicians, by other state leaders, by health officials, by Dr. Fauci, by so many people. We had this COVID narrative wall, and he went up against it. And fortunately, part of that included the moves and the leadership he showed with the restrictions and the lockdowns and the COVID vaccine mandates. Eventually, I became part of that. He recruited me to come over here, and we've continued to do things. So fortunately, we have that. But boy, is there still so much work to do. Where do we start with the word? Let's see. Where shall we start? So, for one thing, here's just another great example, right? You've got this company, Monsanto, bought by Bayer, and they have this product that unfortunately is in almost all of the food that we have in this country, glyphosate. And right now, they are lobbying to obtain state protections and federal protection against harms from their glyphosate, their weed killer. And it's akin to what happened with the vaccines. And what's the problem with this? The problem, again, is forces that have taken their priorities and put them above your priorities, above the priorities of your family. Well, why do they even need to seek these protections? Because it turns out there's a lot of scientific evidence that shows that glyphosate, among other things, seems to be linked with cancer. Is that all it's linked with? No. It also seems to be linked with hormone dysfunction. It seems to be linked with immune dysfunction. It's linked with many different harms. And instead of having a thoughtful conversation, right? Instead of having the conversation about, does it really make sense to not let young people be outside, play outside, get together, attend school? Does it really make sense not to do that and instead to try and shut them apart in homes and have them looking at iPad screens for education? Instead of having that rational conversation, which in this case, the rational conversation, the sensible conversation was, well, you know what? Gosh darn it. How can we make our food healthier so we're not poisoning people? The conversation that instead is being had by these guys is, well, how do we obtain state protections? And they're currently lobbying to try and secure state protections. They've already had some success in Georgia. They're trying in Florida. It's insane, but that is the playing field that we are part of. That is the reality, and that is why what everyone out here is doing is so important. That's why it's so important that everyone keeps doing what they're doing out here. More insanity. Where else can we go? Well, this is another great example, right? Another great example. It's actually very akin to the conversations that have been happening in the state of Florida about fluoride addition to water, right? So you have some people, whatever their energetic or spiritual intentions was, we can have a conversation about that. Whatever the scientific cover is, well, all this man-made pollution is gonna, that's gonna lead to the end of the world, as if that's what's gonna lead to the end of the world, right? It's yeah, yes, we can have the end of the world, but it's not because of the things that we are doing as human beings to just take care of our families and be together. It's because of all these efforts to save us from the end of the world. But so what these forces, what this idea, or what this ideology really is doing is saying that, well, with the United Nations and other countries, what we're going to do to save the planet and save everyone on the planet is we are going to release different substances into the air, substances with aluminum and barium and cadmium and silicone, all these other substances. And, and we're gonna, it will help deflect the sun and all this stuff. Did anyone ever bother to come and ask you whether people have a right to put stuff in the air you breathe? This is the madness. The same thing goes with fluoride. At this point, the scientific evidence really doesn't support it as a public health benefit in terms of even looking at dental benefit. It just doesn't, it's not supported now. There was more evidence decades ago, but now it's not supported. But even putting that aside, who in heaven's name thinks that they are entitled and have a right to medicate you without your permission? Who has the right to do that? No one has the right to do that except you. But rather than having the sensible, human-centered, grounded, God-inspired conversation, they want to have this scientific, technocratic conversation about why they have a right to put medicine in your water without your permission. It is insane. And the cherry on top of the pie is the fact that it's not even supported by scientific evidence. Now the scientific evidence is showing that, well, it's probably harming pregnant women and their babies. It's probably harming children. It may be harming adults too. That's what the scientific evidence is showing. And that's where a sane conversation starts. But so much of our leadership wants to engage you in insane conversations about whether I can fire you today or give you another week to see if you change your mind about taking a new vaccine. Those are insane conversations, right? Those were the topics, right? Insane conversations about whether you're allowed to fly on a plane or open your business, right? Your business, what you poured your blood and sweat into, right? Insane conversations about when you're going to be allowed to do that again, right? So much of the playing field, of the battlefield, is about these crazy conversations, and they're normalized with people thinking that that's a conversation that they're supposed to be having. So that's why what you all are doing and what you all, I'm sure, will continue doing is so important. I want to take a moment to talk about what we're trying to do with the legislatures in Florida. So Governor DeSantis has advanced, and it's Senator Collins is leading it, this bill that has for the Department of Health a patient bill of rights. It's like the best thing, and what it's fighting to do is to end another insane conversation. The insane conversation that your pediatrician actually doesn't want to have with you, just wants to tell you that you can't come and bring your kid to my clinic unless you agree to take this vaccine and this vaccine and this vaccine on this date and that date and that date. That is an insane conversation that they are wanting you to be a part of. Why is that an insane conversation? Because when you seek medical care, there's something that every doctor is trained in medical school. And doctors are trained in this concept because of the mishaps and the missteps of medical doctors in the past, when they've experimented on people, when they've withheld antibiotics from people with infections like syphilis, when they've performed lobotomies without consent. And that is informed consent. The ethics, it's an ethical stable. It is the groundwork of being a physician. It is an intimate and inseparable part of the patient-doctor relationship. Yes, we want to help patients, but you cannot help a patient without their will. They get to choose what you do to their body. That's right. That is, it's not like, there's no debate about that. Okay? That's settled, right? Unlike the settled science, that is settled. There's no debate about that. People get to choose what they do with their bodies. And they get to choose that because they have sovereignty. And you know who granted them sovereignty? Yes, everything, right? God, right? As manifested every single thing around us. Sovereignty. And the pediatricians want you to have an insane relationship where, well, it turns out you don't have that sovereignty. Here's what you need to put in your kid's body. Okay, and by the way, because of the amount of the consequences, right? You can't get care for your kid. That means that those physicians, those pediatricians who are walking around telling parents this, cannot obtain your informed consent. They cannot obtain your informed consent because they have created a situation that's coercive. You can't have informed consent when there's coercion. There's no debate about that. That's just how it is. But they want you to believe that they have a right to have this insane conversation and for you to be a part of it. So the governor is spearheading with Senator Collins this bill with a patient bill of rights. And we're fighting, guys, but it's not as easy of a fight as it should be, right? There's some language in there that I'm hopefully going to be talking with some lawmakers this afternoon and tomorrow about to change, because instead of the way the right should be, unfortunately, there's some people who want to, they want to make it a little squishy, as I think Governor DeSantis likes to use that word, that would undermine your sovereignty. There are lawmakers that want to do that. Okay, yeah. So, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about ivermectin over the counter. Thank you for bringing that up. People brought that up. I want to tell you, so it's not, it's not something that it's not one of the things that have been, and there are things that have been high on my mind that we've been working on, and it's not one of the ones that has been high on my mind. But I have noticed that people have reached out to me about it. I want to tell you, I think because ivermectin, as it turns out, despite some of the lies that we heard during the Biden administration, it's very low risk. It's a very safe medication. It's really safer than acetaminophen, than Tylenol. So in terms of folks who want it over the counter, I think that I personally, if someone wanted that, I think it's fine. And, part of the problem I know people have been encountered is pharmacists who know better than any of the doctors and refuse to dispense it. Give me a break. Give me a break. So, yeah, I support it. It's a safe medication. The one, as a data guy, as a scientist, the one thing I don't like about it is that, about that dynamic, is that it's just a nerdy turn here, but it makes it harder to study so that we can, do some studies. But anyway, I totally am supportive of it. I don't know if any lawmakers have been thinking about taking that up, but I'm totally supportive of it. I think it's a safe thing. Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? So much craziness, and frankly, unfortunately, led by Dr. Fauci. And while we're talking about that, I want to take a moment to talk about something else people reached out to me about, and it's about vaccine injury, and about for example, Cody's Law. Yeah, and so we've been working. Obviously, you guys have seen some of the things we've been doing, and we have more coming. And we actually have something. We should have something that should be coming out actually within the week. That will be very fun. That we've been using our data and public health surveillance to do something important. So hopefully, within about the next week, you'll hear about that. With Cody's Law and vaccine injury, I know a lot of people have reached out about. Pardon me. About this issue of vaccine injury. So one of the reasons it's been really, and I'm grateful for the people who are trying to advance it here in Florida. Unfortunately, it's not making much progress. So, I encourage supporters to keep calling your lawmakers to try and create some progress for it. So one of the challenges, this pandemic has been, it's been littered with so many evils and so many wrongs. Thank you very much. It's been littered with so many wrongs, right? It's, from everything, right? All the lives that were destroyed in terms of businesses, all of the kids who fell behind in their school and whose lives are changed forever because of that, because education is one of the major predictors of progress and potential in this country. All the poor folks who were fired because they didn't want to, take something in the job. All the people whose dignity was denigrated because they didn't want to take something for their job, but didn't feel like they had a choice, and they ended up doing it. So many evils, right? So many assaults on human dignity. And one of them is how COVID-19 vaccine injury has unfolded. And I am completely, there's no doubt about there's a doubt about the depth and the breadth, and just in terms of how horrible and horrific these mRNA COVID-19 vaccines are. And I've tried to make my position very clear on that. No human being should ever put that in their body. And I'm sorry that people have, but it should never happen anymore. Oh yeah, it's one evil after the other. And unfortunately, the vaccine, part of the circumstances around vaccine injury is surrounded by the same evil. And what evil was that? Unfortunately, people like Dr. Fauci made it extremely difficult for people like me and other scientists who are actually interested in characterizing and quantifying vaccine injury-related adverse events related to these mRNA COVID-19 vaccines possible to do. What do I mean by that? Well, one of the ways, and we do this in the Department of Health, we released a study back in 2021 that showed that, actually 2022, pardon me, that showed that young men were at higher risk for cardiac arrest in maybe the first 30 days or so after COVID-19 vaccines. And we're doing some other work right now, and again, you'll hear more about that probably within the next week. But one of the ways that we can prove these things is with data, and unfortunately, Dr. Fauci and others basically made it almost impossible to do this in a proper way. How did they make it impossible to do it in a proper way? They never supported the creation of codes, diagnosis codes that we could use as physicians to analyze this and for physicians to actually document what they believe is suspected injury, adverse events from COVID-19 vaccines. They discouraged doctors from reporting, from acknowledging, from documenting, whether it was in VAERS or even clinical notes, right? Organizations took away the licenses or the board certifications of doctors who spoke out about it. So I want to do more with COVID-19 vaccine injury. And I've got some ideas actually that, we'll see if we're able to make some progress about it. And I can't disclose the details here that are data-based. But the people who set things up and who were in power, the leadership on the public health side, the physician side, created circumstances that made it very difficult to document this stuff and therefore to have a structure that you can use to adjudicate cases. So I know I'm talking a little bit technically here, but the bottom line is that just another casualty, right? Another casualty of the evil that we've seen in the last few years has been the ability to appropriately identify and do something about, proactively about folks who've been adversely affected by COVID-19 vaccines. So that's the reason why I have not been able to do more yet. I am not done trying, and I never will be done trying. I never will be done trying. But I just want to let people know that, believe me, I hear you. And guys, it's one thing, right? These poor people like Brianna Dressen, I think, who will have these who have these devastating neurological, cardiac injuries immediately afterward. But guess what? Other people aren't in the clear. How many vaccines have been found later, right, to increase the risk of different autoimmune diseases, right? That happens. Maybe it happens weeks, months, maybe even years later. But even those people, they may not be documented, but there's way more to this than just meets the eye or that just happens immediately. There's way more to this. So it is a fight for our freedoms. It is a fight for our dignity. It is a fight for what it means to be a human being. And it is a fight. It is a fight for justice. It's a fight for virtue. And, again, I really appreciate everything everyone out here is doing to hold up that fight, to keep it moving forward. I'm glad we've got friends and friendlies in high places in Washington, D.C., but they cannot do it alone. In fact, they not only can't do it alone, it won't happen alone for them. It happens here at the grassroots level. It happens at the state level. It happens with your actions. So please, thank you for what you're doing. I am deeply appreciative. I will keep doing the same on my end. So thank you, guys. God bless you guys.
Doctor that has common sense actually talk to us. Yes.
We love that. But you know what? We've got a lot of doctors in the house today that have common sense. One of them's coming up now. We talked a little bit about the We the People Health and Wellness Center right here in Sarasota County in Venice, Florida. You're blessed to have it. If you haven't been there, check them out. I want to make sure we welcome a private provider there at the We the People Health and Wellness Center. Dr. Kendra Becker. Thank you.
All right. You guys can hear me okay, right? All right. Wardrobe change. So I wanted to talk a little bit about We the People Health and Wellness Center today. My name is Dr. Kendra Becker, and I'm here on behalf of We the People. We are a sanctuary for truth, freedom, and authentic healing. Today, I want to speak about the deep, irreversible harm Dr. Anthony Fauci inflicted on the American people during the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Fauci promised safety, but what he delivered was confusion, coercion, and chaos. He shifted narratives with the wind. One day masks were unnecessary, the next day they were mandatory. And let's remember the 6 feet apart, which we found out years later was absolutely made up. He promoted lockdowns that decimated businesses, shattered mental health, and isolated the elderly. He pushed vaccines under his emergency use edict. While suppressing viable alternative treatments, he did all of this under the guise of science. Remember that? It became very evident over time that not just his poor judgment and his pattern of dishonesty, but that Dr. Fauci, in fact, manipulated data, ignored emerging evidence, and used his platform to silence experts who agreed to disagree. He told the public what was suited the political narrative, not what served their health. Treatments like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine were mocked and restricted, not because they were ineffective, but because they were threatened and to alter his monopoly of deception. The consequences here were grave. Families were torn apart, trust in medicine was eroded, and millions were left with questions and injuries. Sadly, the fallout of his whimsical edicts have left many permanently disabled or dead. But science isn't dogma. Science evolves through open dialogue, data, and dissent. Fauci weaponized science to push doctrine that hurt our children, hurt our economy, and hurt our very right to bodily autonomy. At We the People Health and Wellness, we are a place of healing. A body is supported through natural means. Integrative methods are used here, and no one is forced, no one is coerced, and no one is injected with a medical device that is disguised as salvation. We serve our patients with long COVID, vaccine injuries, chronic conditions that are worsened by failed protocols. We listen, we learn, and we help people truly heal. Our approach is grounded in patient and personal empowerment. We offer patients a voice, a choice, and a clear path toward healing. Whether you're recovering from long COVID, detoxing from a vaccine injury, or dealing with the stress and trauma caused by years of medical gaslighting, our doors and our hearts are open. Our practitioners are trained in real science, the kind that listens, that heals, and that honors the complexity of the human body. We are redefining what healthcare means in America. We do not bow to pharmaceutical interests or government mandates. We are reclaiming medicine for the people, and medicine that is patient-centered, individualized, and grounded in holistic truth. Our mission is not just to treat the symptoms, but to restore wholeness, dignity, and confidence in one's own body choices. This is what Fauci feared. A rising movement of free thinkers, of medical professionals unafraid to question the citizens who refuse to be silenced. We the People Health and Wellness is a model for the future, a place where healing is no longer bound by fear, but led by freedom. We invite all who have suffered, all who have doubted, and all who are ready to heal to join us. At We the People, we educate, we guide, and we restore. No one is turned away for questioning, and no protocol is enforced without consent. We work alongside our patients as partners, not as test subjects. Among emerging therapies we provide at We the People is one called IV-PRP. IV-PRP is a protocol that we use where we remove blood from the arm, spin it down, and take out the important nutrients of blood, prepare that part of the blood, which is called platelets, and re-inject it into the body. That helps heal the brain and the central nervous system first, the heart and the lungs second, and the rest of the body third. This also supports immune modulation, the key areas that are all often affected in children with autism. Currently, we are offering a study that offers complementary PRP treatments to children with autism if they are eligible and qualify for the study. So far, our preliminary results are very favorable. We hope to be a key partner in autism recovery so no children have to suffer with autism in the future. If you have questions about the study, please reach out to us directly. And I just want to leave you with one thought, that we, in history, we have to remember that truth is louder than tyranny, and we, the people, will never forget.
All right, everybody, give it up for Dr. Kendra. Guys, I've actually been a participant of PRP because I have an autoimmune disorder, and I can tell you it is absolutely amazing. If you have any kind of ailments, you need to make sure that you get in touch with the People Health and Wellness Center in Venice. They will literally help you figure it out. It's been an amazing program, the PRP, and I've literally been off of my medication for almost a year, so it's great.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Not yet. She's asking about other locations, but to be determined. Palm Beach County. Did you hear that, Vic? Palm Beach County. They want to we the people. Thank you for saying that, ma'am. Guys, the
hear our outcry. Listen to us widows whose lives were drastically changed forever. Kay Mueller. Tony was a very healthy, active man that served his country proudly in the Navy and had just retired from a lifelong career in nuclear power. He was a devoted husband and father to 7 kids and 8 grandchildren. He was murdered in 11 short days by hospital protocols. The magnitude of the loss of this amazing man by his family is beyond measure. Those responsible that had a hand in his murder must pay for their crime. Every single one of them. Debbie Fields. My beloved hubby of 41 years, Steve, was the most full of life, happy-go-lucky guy I've ever met. And we were just 5 years into the sweet spot of our retirement years when the COVID pandemic wreaked havoc in our lives in late July 2021. We were treated like criminals for being unvaccinated, and the hospital immediately began administering remdesivir. I was unfamiliar with it at that time, and it took his life in only 3 short days. I believe his death is a direct result of the suppression of effective meds like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and the use of the deadly drug remdesivir. Brenda Pasterik. Monty had been vice president of a steel company and a very strong man. After he was hospitalized, I obtained ivermectin for him, but had no way of getting it to him. I was reported to the hospital by a family member that I had ivermectin and was immediately warned by a nurse to not attempt to get it to him. When it was reported he was not eating, I voiced my concern and was told, "We won't make him eat if he doesn't want to." I asked for a feeding tube, but the guide wire was not working properly when inserted, so they could not position it and had to remove it and said they would send him to radiology. This was on a Friday, September 24th. After calling all weekend long, I found out on Monday, September 27th, that radiology doesn't come in on the weekends, unless it's an emergency. I was again mortified that he had been sitting all weekend with no nourishment. Monty died alone, probably thinking we had forgotten him. Kathleen Ropelli. Kathleen's husband was a doctor. His name was Dr. Michael Ropelli. He was a practicing physician, only 66 years old. He had served our country faithfully And yet, he went into the hospital just because he had a scratchy throat. And they even killed their own. Patty Myers. Tony was murdered September 9th, 2021, due to the hospital protocols. He was only 55 years old. He was in the hospital for 4 weeks when he was admitted. He had O2 stats of 94 to 98. They told my husband, quote, "We need to find a reason to keep you overnight." They gave him remdesivir. I fought for him to receive ivermectin, and they gave him half a dose, which quickly changed his status for the better. And they were getting ready to send him home. But out of nowhere, they moved him to ICU, stopped the ivermectin, stopped food, barely gave him water, then pressured him to be vented. He died of kidney and heart failure due to the remdesivir. Where is the justice? Janie Andrews is not with us today. She wanted to be here, but I'm still going to read. Larry Andrews was an unconditional love wrapped in skin, his wife says. He was a Vietnam vet and fought for the freedoms of those who killed him. In spite of 2 negative COVID tests, they put him on a COVID floor and only gave him the government-approved protocols, ultimately executing him with a lethal drug combo. His family and myself were only allowed in to watch him die after 18 days of denying us access. Juliana Packer. My daughter describes her dad as her safe place that she can go to with any emotion or mood. My son describes his dad as a gentle soul whose calm demeanor and smile made him the steadfast foundation of our family. Our safe place and foundation was ripped for us in October of 2021. Scott was cruelly treated and deceived by his healthcare professionals at the VA, beginning with his primary care physician who did nothing to treat him when he became initially sick. After becoming so sick with pneumonia, he entered Sarasota Memorial Hospital, where he was not allowed an advocate and became a target for the protocol and a source of monetary incentive for the hospital. He was put into ICU on a ventilator for 28 days, isolated and given 3 rounds, not 3 doses, 3 rounds of remdesivir. We were frightened, and at one point they called me to try to convince him to comply. We were told the ventilator would give his lungs a rest, as we were all told. After 30 days at Sarasota Memorial, Scott died due to the protocols without dignity or his family. They sure did. Sharon Smith. Jeff and I were happily married for 42 years. We have 2 sons-in-laws and daughter-in-laws and 4 grandchildren that will never get to know their grandpa. Jeff was very healthy and full of life. He never met a stranger and everyone loved him. He was the big guy with the great smile. July 4th, 2021, we went to Meese Countryside Hospital for a simple chest x-ray, and they decided to keep him overnight, which turned into 5.5 weeks of pure torture until they killed him. We trusted them to help Jeff, not kill him. In the ER, they administered 2 doses of the deadly drug remdesivir. On the second day, a doctor came in and told Jeff he was going to die if he didn't go on a ventilator. He was not given food, water, bathed, or a change of bedclothes. He lost 47 pounds in 15 days. Let that sink in. Given 60 pages of deadly drugs, developed a blood clot that went untreated for 2 weeks. After 19 days, he was forced on the ventilator for another 20 days before he was killed. We never thought going into the hospital for a chest x-ray would end in death from the very people we trusted to help him. This is criminal and needs to be stopped. And myself, Cynthia Schrock. Eric was a strong, God-fearing man who loved his family deeply. After he was hospitalized on August 24th, I was never allowed to see him again. On September 7th, the doctor told him he was doing so good that the next day he was going to be moved to a step-down room. We were thrilled. 9:30 p.m. that night. As we all well know, those middle of the night calls. I was called by one of the nurses in a panic telling me they need to intubate my husband and he wouldn't do it unless he talked to me first. His last words to me were, "I'm fighting and I love you." He died 1 week later on September 14th, 2021, and all I received was a phone call. "Cynthia, we lost Eric," and the doctor hung up the phone. 1 year after his death, I got his medical records looked at by two doctors, one being a heart surgeon and the other an ER doctor. They both said that my husband did not die from COVID. He died from a 22-day-long heart attack that was left completely untreated. The hospitals chose remdesivir, intubation, and death. In other words, money, over treating the patient and doing no harm. All I received was the phone call. "Cynthia, we lost Eric." No warning, no come hold his hand, nothing. He never even got to meet his first grandchild, who was born just a week before he was intubated 4 floors below him in the same hospital. All I'm asking you guys today is to hear these stories. We have a woman up here. She just showed up today, so I didn't get a chance. She lost her son to these he was only 39 years old, to the same thing as the rest of us. I'm asking you, hear our stories. Leadership, do not dismiss them again. The pandemic claimed countless lives, leaving families and communities grieving and forever changed. We are offering ourselves as the voice for those who are still wondering, did my loved one really die from COVID in the hospital? Don't just say to us, "I'm sorry for your loss." Ask me what you can do to make sure we honor our loved ones and all of those that were killed. We are here for change and to bring good out of our grief. We urge leadership to take meaningful action to honor those lost and support those left behind. And this is what us warrior widows are asking for. A national day of remembrance to commemorate the lives lost, fostering unity and healing. We also want support for the affected families, including mental health services and financial aid for those suffering from ongoing financial hardship. And 3, and most importantly, a transparent review of pandemic response, policies to learn from past decisions, ensure accountability, and strengthen future preparedness. These steps would show from our leadership for the bereaved, for those of us who lost so greatly, and commit to a resilient future. We ask for true empathy and resolve. And say with me, hear our stories. Hear our stories. Thank you.
That is definitely tough to hear, but you know, I don't care what party you affiliate with, I don't care how you really vote. If your heart for humanity doesn't bleed for those stories, then we need to do better as people. There's a lot of topics that they discuss that we should at least be able, what do you do in the medical field? You go and you do an autopsy. Why are we not doing an autopsy with what happened through COVID and how we dealt with it? It should be basic. So thank you, ladies, for your bravery.
And guys, if you have not seen the movie License to Kill, I strongly encourage you to go find it, pay for it, share it, watch it with your family members, your friends, those on the left side, those in the middle, those on the right side. Just watch the film. It explains what these women have gone through and what so many of us have gone through throughout this whole pandemic in full detail, down to the money, right? We always say follow the money. Well, this movie called A License to Kill explains it all, and you would be shocked.
Guys, another movie you want to get is the Flynn documentary. Any of you guys see that? General Michael Flynn? We have the one and only Jimmy Levy, who recorded the soundtrack to that movie. He's going to be joining us. Welcome, recording artist Jimmy Levy.
What's up? What's up? God bless you all. God bless you all. Thank you. We've been through the ringer with all of this, but at the end of the day, it's important to know that there is somebody with us, and his name is Yeshua. He's been with us from the beginning. We had to go through these battles, but he took the battle, the biggest battle of all, and it's important to remember that through all of this persecution. So, if you know, I was in the music industry for 12 years, and one thing I've learned being around all of the biggest artists in the world, writing with them, working hand in hand, is that they are pushing a demonic agenda. I didn't know that Satan was real. I was born Jewish. I didn't grow up learning about Satan or Jesus. And I started to understand how real he was by being in the industry and realizing that a lot of these people worship him. And a lot of these people do rituals and sacrifices for him. And it's that real. Now, what does this have to do with the vaccine? These same people that do that like to deceive the masses. And when the rollout happened during COVID, and it was one of the greatest deceptions of all time, led by Satan himself, these people were accepting money to push it on our children. I got offered to promote the lockdowns, hundreds of thousands of dollars. My friends, a lot of my friends, they caved and they did it for the money, even if they didn't take it themselves. And I learned, wow, people will just do whatever just to get some money, And sadly, I was deceived for a while, and I wanted to be cool and edgy, and I started doing a lot of songs about the devil, and I started realizing my personality changed. God was like, okay, you want to do that? You want to play that game? I'll show you how real it is. And I got to be in rooms and saw a lot of things I wasn't happy with. I got to get tormented by demons, demonic spirits. I came from an occult family, so I was always open-minded during those things, to allow those things around me, until I realized how real the devil was. And I realized if Satan is real, then Yeshua is real. And he can't touch a child of Yeshua. He cannot touch us, because we have the authority to trample on him and anything that he sends our way. He's the scorpion and he's the serpent, and we step on it. So I got offered a $10 million contract. They said, you can't say God, you can't say Jesus, you can't talk about the vaccine. And this was when I was already speaking out, and I thought, oh wow, God's blessing me. Nope, I was wrong. It was the devil trying to silence me. And, I didn't end up signing that contract, and instead I wrote a song at the beginning of the lockdowns with a rapper named Hi-Rez, and it went, this is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. And within the first day, it went #1 in the U.S. They retracted their contract, but by the next day it was #1 in 30 countries, but it was making an impact. And I was like, you know what? This is what God wanted me to do. He gives us all a gift, and he expects us to use it for him. And for me in my department as an artist, all singers are given a gift for him. It was made to worship him. People ask, what is this with the Satan in the industry? It's very simple. Satan was the lead worship singer in the choir, right? He had the Levite anointing. He was given that position by God to lead the worship for him, but he wanted it for himself, and God casted him down. And now he leads the music industry on top of being the God of this world. So people ask, what is this with the evil happening in this world? It's because he exists and he's the God. It's not God doing that. We can't blame God for the evil. So if you know the song, sing it with me. This is a war. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war. This is a war. Home of the slave. Do the crickets make a sound? Where's the bold and the brave? We don't have to stand our ground. This is a war on the children. They give the cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give the cure with the sickness. This is a war.
keep on proceeding to follow your mind so hollow. You being caught by governments following up everything that the media tell you without a question or a problem. All of this sheep being slaughtered, they poison the water, removing the father and trusting these dollars, ignoring blue collar, keeping the dollar, brainwashing your sons and your daughters. Ain't got any honor if I'm being honest. I just ain't picking a side, but I'm gonna rock for my freedom and die for my freedom and question the government lies. A lot of my mind, so little time. Gotta think all of us needing a sign. The devil he hides and ego and pride. They selling themselves, they're paying the price. God won't give you more than you can handle. Government should be dismantled. Every politician got a scandal. But the war we going to
This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war. This is a war.
I'd rather be red pill, get killed. The ignorant living in me that's still. Don't stand up for something you falling for nothing, no way to the world that we know fall ill. This is the revelation of a generation losing civilization. I'm determinated just to liberate us without dedication. Fucking terminated, fucking medication. The administration cannot eliminate it, so exterminate it. So just keep on praying for your salvation. You are outdated. Society becoming outrageous, keeping the house painted for the firstborn. The angel of death in its worst form. We be scorned, look out for their horns. Remember this isn't their first war. They come in prepared, so just be aware. They do not want to hear none of your prayers. This is a war, they ain't really fair. They feed up your fear, they want you scared. Nothing is fair, it's all in the air. Just be aware. You think I care, the more that you know, the more it's clear. This is a war,
This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war. This is a war. Oh, of the slave to the crickets make a sound. Where's the bold and the brave? We all have to stand our ground. Oh, of the slave to the crickets make a sound. Where's the bold and the brave? We all have to stand our ground. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They give you the cure with the sickness. This is a war. This is a war. This is a war, and God already won it. Amen. Amen. The Lord for taking me out of the darkness of the music industry and allowing me to be here. Because right now, if there were things that I accepted, I would have had my mouth tapered and I would be seeing whatever agenda they would be telling me. So I hope to encourage any artist or a parent that knows has a kid that wants to be an artist or whatever it is, that God can do way more for you and you get to keep your soul. But God already owns it. You can't lose what's not yours. But they can tell you that you lost your soul so that you stay doing their bidding, but God owns every soul. Anyway, this is amen, and God has carried all our burdens. We have to thank him at the end of the day. So I know you'll never understand when you saw my open and I was lying on the cold hard floor. And then I heard an angel cry. He said it ain't my time to die. You don't know yet what I have in store. And I'm saying, yeah, with all of the angels in heaven, I need a reason to live this life another day again. And I'm pleading, put in position to lead it. I am so grateful, Jesus. Amen. Sometimes you gotta see the light, yeah. That's how you make it out alive when you're empty. He'll make you full inside. If you ever fall in dark again, yeah, he will always give you a hand. Oh, God is good all the time. Yes. And I'm singing with all of the angels in heaven. I need a reason to live this life another day again. And I'm pleading, put in position to lead it. I am so grateful, Jesus. Amen. Yeah, yeah. Don't you know that he already died for me? So you better hold on to your faith. You don't have to go. You just let him save your soul. Jesus. Amen. I'm singing with all of the angels in heaven. Oh, I need a reason to live this life another day again. And I'm pleading, put in position to live. I am so grateful, Jesus. Amen. And I'm singing with all of the angels in heaven. I need a reason to live this life another day again. And I'm pleading, put in position to lead it. I am so grateful, Jesus. Amen. And I just pray over everybody that only blessings come into your life. Any spirit of depression, any wickedness, nothing can touch you in the name of Yeshua. And I pray for comfort over all of the widows and anybody that's been affected and the vaccine injured. We stand with you in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. God bless you all. And I'm going to do one final song for y'all. If anyone who remembers the Canadian trucker convoy that went around the world. So I wrote one of the theme songs called Welcome to the Revolution. And I'd like for you guys to sing it with me. If you remember, it goes, we will not comply with the institution, seek illusion, no it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. And we are the revolution, remember that. You will not comply with the institutions, seek illusion, no it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. We will not comply with the institutions, seek illusion, no it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. The revolution won't be televised. Government been telling lies. If you're not with us, you better step aside. Witnessing a genocide. Everything is centralized. The food that we consume and spraying it all with pesticides. Easily identify the sheep and the snake, the real and the fake, giving us a reason to pray. I'ma make my own choices. A voice for the voices. They trying to destroy us, avoiding the poison. It's all pointless if you don't have a purpose. If you read the verses, you know who reverse it. Government can tell you what your worth is. Look deeper than the surface. They don't even want you researching or asking questions. We all being tested. Shut your mouth and comply, that's the message. Want you to press on prescriptions that mess with your head. Come on, sing it with me. We will not comply with the institutions, seek illusion, no it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. Put your hands up. We will not comply with the institution, seek illusion, no it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution.
soul. They want power and control, that's the number one goal. All my friends turn to foes, look how easily they fold. Even Nazis saying they were doing what they're told. Walking down this road all alone in the cold, but my soul never sold. I'm exposing these hoes, God has chosen this road. All of those who oppose want me hopeless and broke like I'm Noah on boats. I'm just trying to tell them all about the flood. I can feel it in my bones, I can feel it in my blood, cause I came out of the mud. Only God is my judge. I don't listen to the politicians, they're the real thugs. Won't comply with the lies. They disguise in the science, they want you compliant. The media is blind. These corporate giants are capitalizing on us by dividing. We will not comply with the institution. Seek illusion, no, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. They're trying to dumb us down. Don't want us to make a sound. We gotta get louder now, cause it's a revolution. We will not comply with the institution. Seek illusion, no, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. God bless y'all. Welcome to the revolution. And God be with you all. Glory to God. Thank you.
Amazing. So everybody's gonna go buy his album, right? I love that. Guys, we're gonna keep it rolling. We've got a real advocate for patients throughout the COVID debacle. One of the lonely voices that was speaking out against the protocols in our hospitals. I'm talking about the one and only Dr. Sherry Weinstein.
Well, it has to be a lot shorter here. I might not even need a mic. You'll be happy to know I'm not going to sing and dance up here, but I am going to share some things that are actually pretty near and dear and important. And I want to thank everybody here, every one of you that showed up, every one of you that came to Van Wezel and Marina Jacks to carry signs and to wear T-shirts and to try to wake up the community as to the crimes of humanity that have been being perpetrated. So I am Dr. Sherry Weinstein. I'm an internal medicine doctor. I'm going to bring this down so I don't have to hold it down. And I've been practicing at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. I had my own private concierge practice for the past 20 years. I've been on staff at the hospital for 25 years. And for 23 of those years, I was a darling doctor. I could memorize the vaccination schedule, and I made all of my patients get every vaccination. If they didn't take the shots, like the flu shots, then I was secretly happy when they got the flu. I didn't believe them when they told me that they got the flu after they got the vaccines, because that's not what we were taught in medical school. So I did wake up during COVID because in 2020, I had one of the first cases of COVID in this town, and a 76-year-old diabetic with kidney failure, AFib, fortunately was already on blood thinners. So when she ended up getting a little bit sicker, she didn't make blood clots because she was already on blood thinners. She was already on vitamin D. She was already on fish oil. My patients of you that are in the crowd, you know how I love vitamin D, fish oil, vitamins. I mean, these are the wellness cocktails. This is what keeps people alive. I've treated thousands of cases of COVID and no one has died. Most did not go to the hospital. Only 2 went to the hospital. So just to give you a little bit of my background, so I've also been one of the only doctors. I was on the co-chairwoman of the Quality Improvement Board at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. And I was in charge of reviewing cases where people died or people had adverse outcomes. And many of those cases were people that were admitted with COVID. And lo and behold, I find out that they actually were put in they came in with abdominal pain or a car accident or a drug overdose, and they were swabbed with a nasal swab, which has a false positive rate of somewhere between 75 and 85%. They were called COVID cases and put in COVID lockdown wards. Okay, and some of those patients did not get examined by a physician because the doctors were saving personal protective gear. And quite honestly, some of the doctors were scared to death of a freaking viral infection. So they didn't examine the patients, and people died. And I saw that, and I asked at the QI board why they didn't have a problem with admitting people with COVID and giving them no treatment when these people died. So they listened to me and said, well, Dr. Weinstein, not everyone feels comfortable using ivermectin. Well, 44 doctors at the hospital did feel comfortable, but they kept us from using it. They kept us from using ivermectin. They kept us from using hydroxychloroquine, chloroquine, colchicine, azithromycin, high doses of steroids that we usually use for typical respiratory viral infections. They did not allow it. They only allowed emergency use authorized products like molnupiravir, made by Merck, who threw ivermectin under the bus when they knew they had another drug that was a big ticket item. Paxlovid by Pfizer, right? So Pfizer didn't want ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. They were only using the remdesivir. The other name is remdesivir, exactly. And my heart goes out to all the widows that are in this crowd. And I know several of them. I know several of my patients that are vaccine injured and lost their loved ones. My own mother died. My father-in-law died. My mother-in-law is demented. I've got immediate onset of Parkinson's in my patients. I've got turbo cancers. I've got vaccine-associated immune deficiency syndrome. And the sad thing is, in this whole pandemic, the only person that got immunity from these vaccines is freaking FAUCI. We all got vaccine-associated immune deficiency syndrome. We all got shed on. We lost our kids, our parents, our grandparents because of Fauci being the snake he is. So Sarasota Memorial Hospital has driven away excellent practitioners from the hospital. I was one of the only ones that would speak up. Most doctors were scared of losing their practices. So I sold my practice recently, and it's given me more time to make those beautiful neon signs that you see and to come out with you guys. Otherwise, I'd be, taking care of all my vaccine-injured patients at my office. But I get to be here with you guys making a bigger difference. Now, I am actually going to be publishing my work along with a wonderful organization called Children's Health Defense. And if you are not aware, please, Children's Health Defense, go on, give them $10 for a lifetime membership, and you'll be a hero. You will hear about all the wonderful information. And our savior, they call RFK Jr. the savior of the planet. That was Time Magazine. RFK Jr. is the savior of the planet. He may be the savior of America if we will let him. So what I want to do is I want to have a call to action for you all. I go to the board meetings at Sarasota Memorial Hospital nearly every month. Since we got 3 new Health and Freedom doctors on, 3 new Health and Freedom people, including Vic Rowe, who's in the audience. Thank you, Vic, for being here. We've had Bridget Fiorucci. We really have some other people that need to be educated to what went on, because it's not over, guys. COVID's not over. They're planning the next pandemic. Peter Hotez is picking up where Fauci left off, and they're planning the next thing to poison us with. So I would ask that you come and you get involved. Get involved with Stand for Health Freedom. Get involved at the Sarasota Memorial Hospital board meetings. They're every month, every other month. Sometimes they make them closed. But make your voices heard. Let them know we're not going to stand idly by. Someone just told me today that they're still making the nurses get the COVID shots in order to work at the hospital. This is absolutely asinine. We know it's been shown that the vaccines do not provide immunity. They don't stop transmission. And if you've had 3 or more shots, you're more likely to have vaccine-associated immune deficiency syndrome. I'm happy to say that I got some help on this forefront. One of my buddies, Dr. Pierre Corey from the Frontline COVID Critical Care Alliance. Give it up for Pierre. He should be here talking. But he is in our city. We're blessed to have him. He's working. I tried to get him to come in and work with me, and he said, Sherry, that's so cute. That's so sweet. I never have to go into work again. I can work from my house. And I said, yeah, jerk. Anyway, we're very blessed to have a lot of health and freedom people here that are making a difference, so your voices will be heard. And if you have been vaccine injured or know people that are vaccine injured, please get in touch with me. I have my car still at Marina Jacks. I've got a box full of vaccine adverse event reporting site manuals that can show you how to report vaccine injuries. We need to get this publicized. I've got other information to pass out. I've got some signed copies of Pierre Corey's book, The War on Ivermectin. So just keep your ears peeled. Support those that are supporting you. Thank you very much, and God bless America. God bless you all.
All right, everybody, how's everybody doing? Give it up for Dr. Sherry. Isn't it amazing? We have so many great doctors here in Sarasota, here in Florida, period. But this next speaker you all know very well. Her name is Michelle Posey. She is Director of Operations for the Hollow Alliance. She is producer, director, host of Open Mic on Patriot.tv, as well as Coastal Conservative News. She also ran for Florida State House. Guys, she is a dynamic speaker. She's one of my best friends. I call her my sister in Christ, Michelle Posey.
We're trouble together. We're just going to say,
yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I want to, if it's okay, I just want to spend a minute here and get a little bit personal with you guys. I talk a lot, but I don't always talk about why I got involved in, politics, activism, and speaking. So I just want to kind of be raw and real with you for a moment. I would not even be standing here today before you orchestrating events like this if it weren't for the events that took place in my life in 2020.
God bless you.
My life was far from public scrutiny. And like the rest of you all, I was just a stay-at-home mom, right? I was pretty comfortable and pretty complacent.
I guess it doesn't.
But when the early onset reports of COVID-19 surged, I felt
it's an old school one.
that same nervousness, fear, and anxiety that the rest of the world felt. So when my dad was hospitalized during a trip to Illinois, and I later found out that the hospital suspected he had COVID, my heart literally sank. Like so many others, I was hearing reports of successes with early treatment options, but I was also hearing the terrors of ventilating protocols that patients rarely return from, and the lockout of families from being bedside while saying goodbye to their loved ones. My dad, like so many others of his generation, the baby boomer generation, good generation, fought for his country, fought for his family, and now was fighting for his life. And I dug my heels in and decided it was my turn to fight for him. This began a long journey that many of you have had as well, a long, daunting journey of advocating for my father as much as possible while communicating to nurses, hospital staff, and doctors that were on this weird schedule of rotation that would forbid me from getting true continuity of care for my dad. But let me stop right there. This rally and this speech and what we're doing in this movement is in no way shedding shade on our medical professionals, our doctors, our nurses, our first responders. This world doesn't tick without you. We love you. We're grateful for you. So again, I want to make sure that we give accolades to our first responders here today and all those who chose to serve in healthcare. We love you. But what I would find out is that the early framework of Obamacare had a lot to do with why I was handicapped in getting my dad help. Nurses helped FaceTime me, my dad and I. The ICU staff would play Johnny Cash music for him. So many doctors tried fervently to answer my questions, but none of it mattered, guys. Because for the first time in the history of medicine, the outcome was already decided. There was no care in healthcare. It was follow the barking orders of three-letter agencies. And that was a wake-up call for me. You see, I would ask about simple treatments like hydroxychloroquine, and I was told that was not part of a protocol for treatment. I said, if he's gonna die anyway, then why not try it? Our family basically had to agree to waiving any say in my dad's treatment because he now fell under their COVID protocol. Even his doctors were puzzled at this top-down approach to medicine that had swept the hospital and the nation. Ultimately, though, I fought hard to advocate for my father. He took his final breath and died in an ICU where he was kept away from loved ones for almost 8 weeks. 8 weeks in a sterile environment with no sign of family or loved ones. 8 weeks without seeing the faces of those who you're supposed to be fighting to survive for. 8 weeks of solitude, depression, and exhaustion as a patient who's supposed to have so much to live for. I want to take a brief break here because we've had a lot of counter protests, right? In support of not only Fauci, but maybe countering some other issues. Maybe it's immigration you don't agree with. Maybe it's education you don't agree with. But I want to tell you this. All those people that are fighting because they don't appreciate what we're doing with deportations in this country, separating families, stood idly quiet while they separated us from our loved ones during COVID. We're no longer going to stand for politics and business as usual. His name was Edward Handel Sr. Edward Handel Sr. At the risk of having my own George Floyd moment here, I want to say his name again, Edward Handel Sr., because I think Anthony Fauci and countless others should be forced to know the names of those who died needlessly while under Fauci's tyranny of medicine. Listen, we wouldn't even be having this event or this conversation if Anthony Fauci had not used your tax dollars to play God in a lab in Wuhan, China. The very gain-of-function research that newly leaked internal documents show was being conducted. The idea of taking a virus, you guys, and manipulating it and making it more lethal is literally the epitome of evil. Fauci did that. The emails and documents obtained through FOIA requests that now show that most everyone agreed that virus had leaked from the lab in Wuhan, only to now have whistleblowers who have revealed that those same officials were bribed into changing their story. That is not science. Don't ask me to follow it. You and I have loved ones that should be here with us today had it not been for the mastermind of Anthony Fauci and the unethical research he was conducting on your dime in Wuhan, China. That makes him a murderer in my book. But it doesn't stop there. The unconstitutional mandates that this mastermind concocted led our free world into a tailspin, and it took our sovereign liberties and tried to crush them. Suddenly, a bureaucrat was telling you whether or not you were essential. Businesses were forced closed, While big box retailers stayed open, schools went to distance learning, while teachers' unions fought hard to keep schools closed. Beaches were closed, sporting events canceled, and graduations canceled. Churches were forced closed, literally, while strip clubs were deemed essential. Just ask Pastor Rodney Howard Brown from right here in Florida. Florida Sheriff Chad Chronister, let's make him famous, was proud of himself for handcuffing a pastor for holding service during COVID. Guys, looking back on it, it was like we had temporary insanity. But who authored the insanity? Anthony Fauci. The idea that a mask knit together from fabric somehow stopped the world's most deadliest virus was outrageous. But Fauci said to do it, and the masses did. We were scolded that we should follow the science, but those same people told us to stand 6 feet apart because a virus could travel 5.5 feet and not 6. That's the most unscientific thing I've ever heard. But the craziest thing, you guys, the craziest thing was still to come. For the first time in history, now you were being asked to take an injection to protect other people. A shot that no one knew the ingredients of, because the insert was literally completely blank. How can I give informed consent to something I am not properly informed of? The shot was never tested for efficacy, but people were told to line up like cattle for it. So much of this made no sense, but because Fauci mandated it, people did it. Which brings me to why we're all here today. We may have to agree to disagree on many different topics. That's part of what we have come to love about this country and our constitutional republic. Whether you're Democrat, Republican, or an independent, today I look out at you and I see you as a human being. And I ask you this, think about this. At what point do you say, enough is enough? And we decide to unite in remembrance of some of the most atrocious things committed against humanity. Maybe we don't agree on education, okay? Maybe we don't agree on immigration. But can we at least agree to do no harm? Can we at least agree that the one thing the Hippocratic Oath says is to do no harm, and it's the one thing that Anthony Fauci has ignored? Listen, from cooking up this virus, to the lies about its origin, to the treatment protocol that hid valuable treatment options, to the blacklisting of real remedies and physicians who advocated for it, to the toxic treatment protocol that is more deadly than the virus itself, to the tyrannical mandates and overreach of bureaucracies in the name of safety, to the unethical and ineffective antidote that has made big pharma rich. What more does it take for you and I as humanity to stand up and say collectively, enough? Anthony Fauci and countless others would not need a preemptive pardon, which there really is no such thing, if he had not actually known that he was guilty. It's now up to the states. I'm calling out to state leaders. It's up to you to stand and hold Anthony Fauci accountable. We, the people, have to send a resounding message to those elected to represent us that we stand behind you, so go and do the right thing. Florida should lead the way in holding Anthony Fauci accountable for the death and destruction that his science and policies have caused. But it doesn't stop there. You and I, yes, even housewives like me, stay-at-home moms like me who used to be housewives, you and I need to take an active role in holding our elected representatives accountable. Whether it's the school board, the hospital board, city or county commissioners, we can never go back to our comfortable compliance. We can't go back to that complacency and the lives of just trusting others to carry the big lift. This mentality is what brought a quiet, stay-at-home, well, I wasn't really quiet, but a quiet, if you believe that, stay-at-home mom like myself out of the kitchen. It's what propelled grandparents like you to speak at school board meetings, and it's what's made some of us run for office. What role are you going to play going forward, guys? Don't tell me you don't do politics, because politics will definitely do you, and we saw that in COVID. Guys, make sure, if you want to know how you can get involved, I'm talking whether you want to run for office, you want to learn how to hold elected officials accountable, you want to be tied in with organizations in your community that do just that, please make sure you follow the Hollow Alliance on all social media platforms and visit www.thehallowalliance.com. God bless you guys. Let's say never again. I love you guys, but you know what? I love this next person even more, I have to say it, because we're sisters in crime, usually poking the bear all day long, but she's going to come up here and sing a rendition of God Bless America. Let's welcome Allie Leger.
All right, you guys, you have to give it up for Michelle. She's amazing. Michelle Posey, everybody. All right. Are y'all ready to do this? Sing with me, because that would be helpful. I appreciate it. All right. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her with the light from the night of above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with love. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
How long have you been hiding that, Miss Moms for America?
I've been hiding it. So yes, as a veteran, that song has a very special place in my heart because I know exactly what kind of sacrifice that takes, and we are always asking God to bless this nation. God has had His hand on the inception of America since the beginning, and we must continue to push that forward. All right, our next speaker, as a veteran.
Yes, listen, she has the first case acknowledged by the Department of Defense as being harmed in the line of duty from the COVID jab. That's injured. Absolutely. Her name is Carolina Stanzik. Welcome, Carolina.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to start by opening up in prayer. We need to focus back on God, who's kept me here. My story is quite a bit, so join me in prayer. Dear God, thank you for today. Thank you that we could all be here. Thank you that we could join arms, be here to advocate for truth, justice, and freedom, protect people, their safety, their physical health, keep us healthy. Please heal the hearts of people who are wounded physically, heal the hearts of people who have been hurt by the lies, who have been hurt by policies implemented in our government. Please let the words that I say today help someone and hopefully will lead us towards forgiveness. In Jesus' name, amen. So a little bit about my story. I am 25 years old now, and at the age of 21, I joined the Army in order to go into counterterrorism. At the age of 21, it was February 2021, and I was told, get the COVID shot or you will not be serving anymore. At the time, it was not mandated, let me make that clear. However, I believed that I would have to give up my rights in order to serve, and so I took Moderna 1 and 2. This week marks 4 years since I had the second shot of COVID. So I got the shot, had some pretty severe side effects, and after that I was severely debilitated with a heart condition labeled as POTS. I then was diagnosed with asthma, and after that I suffered at the age of 21 my first heart attack. That was October 2021. I was denied medical care that day. I went to a clinic on base and they had told us, well, they told me specifically that it's busy, come back another day. So I went to the hospital with chest pain, with trouble breathing and palpitations. I was passing out, my heart rate was in the 180s. And after that, I got to the hospital and they had told me, well, did you get the COVID shot? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, does this run in your family? I was like, no. And they were like, okay, well, it just came back that you had a heart attack. I was 21 years old. At the age of 22 in February, just a few months later, I had yet to see a cardiologist up till that point. And I was then hospitalized again for a second heart attack. Fast forward some time, I fought and fought and fought. I was then unlawfully discharged without benefits from our lovely military. So that you face homelessness, you face medical debt. I incurred over $90,000 in medical debt. So not only was I fighting for my health, I was fighting the medical bills as well. So I moved to Florida, got some help, and then I ended up having a stroke at the age of 22. Give it some time. I got some treatment from a really good doctor, Dr. Molly James, if anyone knows her, phenomenal doctor. After that, I had some time to recover, and then when I recovered, months went by, I could not keep up with treatments, and I had a third heart attack at the age of 23. All this time, doctors were telling me, it's not like anything with your heart is healthy. My mom can attest to that. Everyone's like, you're fine. It's nothing to see, nothing to do, whatever. So at that time, I was like, okay, well, they're not going to help me, and that's that. So some time went by. I started fighting for my rights. I got reinstated back into the military. They had me back on active duty. And with that being said, I was then also, my heart condition was attributed to the COVID-19 vaccine. In 2024, at this time, I'm still being told I'm healthy, you're young, nothing to see here. I had 4 cardiologists tell me nothing to see. You're young, you're crazy, you have anxiety, all of these issues. So I'm like, absolutely not. Okay, let's see. I go to a 5th cardiologist and he asks me, what do you want done? And I said, I just want someone to listen. Medical providers in this field here, I want you to know, if you listen to your patient, chances are you will save a life. That is my call to action. If you're a medical provider, listen to your patients. We patients know our bodies best. No one knows themselves better than the person themselves. So that doctor, he listened to me within just a week. He had put in a heart monitor internally into my chest. I had gotten that, and within 3 days, he had told me that my heart was stopping. That was not expected. So I got a call from the nurse and said, we don't really want to tell you this, but you're probably going to have to get an emergency pacemaker. So at the age of 24, after 3 years of gaslighting, 3 years of doctors not listening to me, and 3 years of me being like confused, having lack of support and whatnot, I finally had a doctor who listened, and we came up with a solution. So June of 2024, I got my pacemaker. I am doing much better. And so I want people to know this story that I've lived, this journey I have lived, is a story of redemption, of hope, resiliency, and forgiveness. So I want people to understand, yes, we go through trials. Yes, we go through tribulations. There's turmoil in life and people will suffer. What we cannot do is take away from the grace that God gives us. And the love that I have received, the abundance of love from the people around me, you, Nicole, too, those people are why I'm still here today. God put those people in my life. He saved my life. I'm still standing here today, able to walk and talk and breathe. There's other people that will never get that chance. And so we need to remember that there's something called forgiveness, and it doesn't happen overnight, right? I mean, I have every reason to be pissed off. I really do. There's people that need to face justice, but that is not going to happen by being angry with others. So they do need to repent. Yes, I am listening to you. Thank you, sir. Yes, repentance is key. However, how do we do this, right? So my call to action for everyone else in this area here joining me is that we have conversations, honest conversations, right? So you go and talk to someone, right? I will go talk to someone and they'll be like, oh, well, I know someone else who suffered similarly to you. And okay, great. Well, so it sucks that we've all been through that, but there's community, and if we do not have honest conversations, then we cannot talk about that and bring light and education to the subject. So I talk about my story because, you know what, it could save a life. So that is my other call to action for everyone here, is that you tell your story. Someone next to you, someone in the room that you are standing in, or lost a loved one, or you go through a medical crisis, or you've been in a car accident. Someone needs to hear your story. Someone else is struggling. Someone needs to hear that sense of hope, that there is light on the end of the tunnel, and that, you know what, like, we can get through this, but you cannot do it alone. So I just want people to really, I guess, take that and go have conversations, advocate for one another, because you know your body best. Okay, so I did start a website. It's called Destined for Greater. Destined number 4 Greater. So what I did with that, it's destinedforgreater.net, just for anyone that didn't catch that. Yes, I've been through quite a bit, as have most of us. And what I wanted people to know is that turning turmoil into purpose is how we get through life, and is how we carry the mission, right? God puts us here on earth for a reason. We don't know why, but then we have the opportunity and the choice to make something of it. And so with that, I turned Destined for Greater into a page where people can go there, they can create community, you can tell your story, a platform to tell your story, but also get the benefit, like the resources that you need, and make the connections in order to get the help that you need. So with that being said, go on there. If you know someone that's struggling, whether it be suicide, sexual assault, harassment, anything of that sort, military, civilians, all of it, you can tell your story, you can support me, and then also it will help me keep supporting other people, advocating on behalf of people, and people who have been victims of the system. So yeah, that is my story. Let me not take the mic. I love you, girl. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Give it up for Carolina. Thank you, Carolina. Your bravery is amazing. Oh, let's just keep it rolling, guys. Right now we have a psychotherapist, and the only one who filed a writ of mandamus calling the jabs bioweapons. Wow. Suing to remove them from the shelves. None other than Dr. Joseph Sanson. Come on up,
I'd like to just ask everybody if we could just take a quick moment of silence for the victims of the bioweapon injection and those that have been injured and died from the shedding. Thank you. I'm Dr. Joseph Sansone. I'm a psychotherapist opposed to psychopathic authoritarianism. I have to admit, I kind of was inspired when Congressman Ron Paul retired from Congress and diagnosed Congress with psychopathic authoritarianism with that tag. But you remember James Carville back in the early 90s? You know, I'm an old Buchananite from the 90s. I was a chair in one of Pat Buchanan's presidential campaigns. You remember Carville in the early 90s against the first Bush for president, advising Clinton, "It's the economy, stupid." Right? It's the bioweapons, stupid. President Trump, Governor DeSantis, both of them know that these are biological and technological weapons of mass destruction. Do not let anyone get away with this. Operation Warp Speed wasn't just an unmitigated disaster. It was an attack and assault on the American people. You cannot be America first and look the other way while they're poisoning American citizens, the people you know and love. Now, I have a lawsuit. I'm actually on my second lawsuit against Governor DeSantis to remove these injections because they are bioweapons. I have 9 affidavits in my case. I'm in the appellate court in the First District Court of Appeal. I have 9 affidavits, including an affidavit here from Dr. Francis Boyle. Unfortunately, he passed away on January 30th of this year. but I have an affidavit from the law professor that wrote the 1989 Bioweapons and Anti-Terrorism Act saying that these are biological weapons, violate 18 U.S.C. 175 Chapter 10 and Florida Statute 790.166. They're targeting us for destruction. Now, let me tell you something. You do not have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a medical doctor to realize that if they're giving countless people chronic diseases, neurological disorders, autoimmune diseases, heart conditions, you name it, you are shortening people's lifespans. So while they're shortening people's lifespans, they're also reducing birth rates because it's getting in the testes and the ovaries and it's interfering with birth rates. We do not know the multi-generational effect of this. This is literally an existential threat to the human race. We do not know what they've done to our species because it's altering our DNA through the reverse transcription. These psychopathic authoritarian transhumanists are literally trying to merge us with technology. And I got news for you. Stargate is designed to come after you. Those AI facilities are going to be used to go after you. They want to replace whole departments of government with artificial intelligence. That's not my idea of limited government. My idea of limited government is the government gets the hell out of my life and I'm free. Do not pretend they are defending you. It'd be like if your spouse is cheating on you and you want to pretend it's not happening, that's going to make it better. Do not support anyone running for governor in the state of Florida that does not explicitly state that these mRNA nanoparticle injections are biological and technological weapons of mass destruction. If they do not say them, chase them down the street. Show up at their events, make them answer that question. Do not let them get away with it, Republicans or Democrats. And I don't care if Donald Trump endorsed that. Donald Trump endorsed Lindsey Graham too. Okay, so they're either with us or they're against us. Now I know I have limited time here, so what I want to also ask you to do is I update on my case and write on my Substack, which is easy to remember, josephsansone.substack.com. But I also have written a draft bill here. It's called the mRNA Bioweapons Prohibition Act. Now, it's a draft that can be used in any state. It's late for Florida, so we can't do it here unless they attach it to a bill. But it's already been introduced by Representative Shane Meckland in the state of Minnesota. So we're trying to get people to introduce this legislation in as many states as possible. This is the only piece, this is groundbreaking. This is the only piece of legislation that recognizes that these shots are already illegal and violate state bioweapons laws. Do not let them get away with this. They are murdering the people you know and love. And it's not okay for all of us to be working 10 times harder than our pathetic politicians. They are all cowards, corrupt, or out of touch. Thank you.
Good job.
Hello, this is Christian Coffins from DarkDox.com. I'm here in Sarasota, Florida. It's 8:30 in the morning, and we're supposed to be starting a protest. Anthony Fauci is supposed to be speaking at the Van Wezel Performing Arts Center over here on the water. It's a lovely day out, and there's some confusion about where exactly the protest is starting. At 11 or so, there's going to be a festival where the Surgeon General of Florida is going to be speaking, amongst others, musical guests and such. So we're going to be hopefully protesting, bullhorning, waving flags, and yeah, I guess Anthony Fauci's inside. Honestly, the parking lot's not very packed with protesters or attendants of this event, so I'm kind of curious what exactly is going on. I'll report back more with more updates soon.
Yeah, well, my one friend's like, I make you laugh. I
can't help myself.
Yeah, my one friend is like, I'm really sure.
So y'all are really. So are you with Alex's group? Or?
Yeah, I run DarkDox.com. We're an affiliate.
Good. Love him.
Oh yeah.
He's the best.
So yeah, I'm here in front of the Van Weisel Performing Arts Center where Anthony Fauci is supposed to be speaking, but it's the oddest thing because there's plenty of police around and protesters, but I don't see enough people for an event to be happening here, as well as the organizers of the protests are nowhere to be seen. So it's concerning. We'll see what happens.
Actually on the sidewalk near Van Weisel. I just wanted to let you know what we heard. So somewhere.
Christian, what'd you find down there? Nothing.
A couple of gators. Again?
You're Christian too. I'm like, how do you know my name?
Where we want to.
The ladies' room came on back. I had to go check New York City. Can I take your picture? Oh my God.
I'm sorry?
Can I take your picture?
Oh, yes, of course.
Over here because
Yeah, man.
the families.
That's good. Thank you.
I don't think we're too split up. No. He'll probably come over here after this.
I mean, this is the spot right here, you know, because you got.
Yeah, he won't come in here, but people going into it will.
Is he even here? Is anyone here? This is the weirdest thing.
I know.
Like, there's not enough people for Anthony Fauci to be speaking here this morning.
Well, maybe he backed up.
I also want to ask the cops, but I'm sure they won't say anything. So I don't know.
I don't think he's. Let me walk down here and see. I'm gonna ask him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because the website said to get here at 8:30, so the people who bought tickets can see us.
Yeah, right. That's what I would.
So where's everybody? It's weird.
Maybe we didn't sell any tickets.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine someone actually paying to go see. Even on the left, you know, like, and they don't have money, first of all, but.
Paying $70.
Wow.
I don't know.
You need to take your 15th booster.
Apologize. Right? No. Something about.
You need to wear 15 masks.
Another one.
Your mask better have masks.
Across the police. Yeah, she was one brave woman.
Coming out here covering this. You guys a local affiliate?
Yeah, SNN. We're I think we're channel 6, but I think it's been a while, so it might be channel 30 now.
Oh,
but
they keep bumping you down the list.
No, that is what it is. There you go. You know how to mic yourself up? Or need help?
Yeah, I don't know how to do this one.
Okay, so
just clip this somewhere.
Ideally, ideally, if you could do it this way.
Okay.
So we're gonna wrap this up a bit, and you're gonna put this in your pocket.
Okay.
And wait, can you take it out? I'm sorry, I just want to make sure it's not muted because it happens all the time. No, we're good to go. All right,
cool.
So put this in your pocket, and now try to clip this onto like your shirt collar.
Okay.
Because your whole thing is black, so I don't think it's gonna matter too much.
Yeah, point it. This is so tiny.
Need help, or you got it?
Right here. It should work, right?
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Perfect. So go ahead and stand right there and face me, because I'm gonna be standing right here. So turn your body a little bit. No, like face me. There you go, just like that.
Okay.
The damage that it's done to suppress the T cells and the natural killer cells. Good.
All right. Speak for me. Just say anything.
Check, testing, 1, 2. Check.
Good to go. All right, sir. So if you don't mind, give me your first and last name and how to spell it for me.
Christian Coffins, CHRISTIAN COFFINS.
And look at me when you answer. So tell me a little bit what's going on here today.
So I run DarkDox.com, DARKDOX.com out of Orlando, Florida, and we got a report from the Hollow Society that there was going to be a protest, and Anthony Fauci is going to be speaking at this Performing Arts Center today against the COVID shots, the lockdowns, the masks, just the whole global tyranny of the medical industrial complex. And, so we got a lot of supporters here, of course, a lot of Trump supporters saying, we're not going to do the lockdowns ever again. We're not going to do the masks. The science is not settled. Anthony Fauci is not the science. And there are real scientists that are now coming out now with the Maha movement with RFK Jr. in office that, we can actually start taking some real change. We've already, nationwide are having a dialogue about removing fluoride from the water, which is a known neurotoxin. It's literally rat poison. We've been promoting this at Infowars.com for 30 years now. And so it's due time. We need natural health, natural immunity. People just need to simply take your vitamins, get some sunshine, exercise. We don't need to be taking these experimental shots.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Check out DarkDox.com.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. No.
I'm about to walk off with it. Thanks so much for your time, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I got that. You got it?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Outfitting.
Ew. He's at his phone.
Couple hours, so I'll be good. But I just couldn't offer to throw his bike in the car.
I think we're also going to help you with your kidney failure.
No. Kidney failure, when you have kidney failure, there's nothing you can do. It just gets worse. So that's what I'm doing.
What do you want to see happen today? What's the most important message that you could say today?
Good morning.
How are you? Are you actually from Infowars?
I'm an affiliate. I run DarkDox.com out of Orlando.
And I told you.
Yeah, we work at the Gateway Punda and Infowars.
This is the Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is great. So is this thing actually going to happen? Is Fauci here? I don't see enough people.
Probably coming from both sides, because he's a pussy. Pardon me. Pardon my French. Not really, pardon my French.
Yeah, I got a boat on my van. I was halfway considering just going up and down the water with my bullhorn, but I thought this would be more fun.
Well, let's see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah. We got some people on the corner over there.
Tommy launched his boat, and we could just go up and down without calling
I feel like the Boston Tea Party, but we dumped COVID shots in the water, Maybe that's a bad idea.
Yeah, that's a really bad idea. We're already turning the frogs gay.
That's right, atrazine, yeah. They laughed at it. I have the clip.
I know.
Mini-series. And they tell the trainees that
No.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the freaking frogs gay. Serious crap gay. Frogs freaking frogs. It's not funny.
I won't berate you guys. I have all those for like when we go to leftist protests, they hate it.
And then they
Yeah, okay, let's see, the light's pretty good right here. Okay. Ready when you are, man. Hold on one sec. Okay, I'm good if you are.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Yes, we're here to let Anthony Fauci and his followers know that what happened was wrong. Our husbands were killed, murdered in the hospital in Florida, and they should not have. My husband went in for a simple chest x-ray to the hospital, and they kept him for 5.5 weeks, and he was murdered. Starved, no water, lost 47 pounds in 15 days, was given 60 pages of horrific drugs, including remdesivir, and it killed him. All of us are here.
So all of you, I'm going to pan over here.
Yep.
So all of you all have experienced the loss of a loved one in a Florida hospital.
Our husbands.
Virginia.
Virginia.
Mine was Virginia. Yours was
Off
Virginia.
the road, guys.
Thank you.
I'd like to also ask, this is a photograph I taken of your husband.
Yes, this is my husband. This is when he went into the hospital to get a simple chest x-ray. They decided to keep him, and then they vented him after 19 days. He was 20 days on the ventilator. I'm not allowed to see my husband, to help him. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy.
What can we expect today?
No, he's in Miami. Yeah, she had her.
Your vaccines are genocide.
When we pull up the beaches,
You can't hide. Your vaccines are genocide.
I think they all should.
Nobody voted for Anthony Fauci. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay fraud. I don't want to see him. And they tell the trending.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order. It's Christian Talk.
DarkDox, digest. DarkDox, digest. DarkDox, digest. DarkDox, digest. If you value this program, donate what you can at CASH.APP /DarkDox. DarkDox, digest. DarkDox.
I got 6, so. Yeah.
Revealed that the common use